Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Chapter 176, Yu Xiaogang expelled from the family. Every word Yu Luomian said was so sharp and ear-piercing. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang's face became incredibly unsightly, his body trembled slightly, his hands clenched into fists, and his nails dug deep into his palms. But facing his second uncle, who had terrified him since childhood, Yu Xiaogang didn't dare to retort a single word. He gritted his teeth and lowered his head, screaming frantically in his heart. I have no future, second uncle, you look down on people. My vast wisdom is enough to shock the entire continent. It's just that ordinary people cannot understand the depth of my intellect at all. Just you wait, times change and fortune turns. Don't look down on a middle-aged man just because he's poor. Once I've trained Little San and turned him into a peerless twin spirits powerhouse who will shine throughout history. My wisdom and my theories will become classics passed down through generations. When that time comes, I will make you regret this. Even if you cry and beg me for a few words of guidance, see if I even acknowledge you. Yu Luomian looked at Yu Xiaogang's reaction and sneered, perhaps guessing what was on his mind. Trash is trash. He can't even break through past level 29 spirit power. He'll be trash until the day he dies. If Yu Xiaogang weren't the youngest son of his elder brother, Clan Master Yu Yuanjun, Yu Luomian wouldn't have even spared a glance at such trash. He walked into the room, pulled out a chair, sat down, and looked at Yu Xiaogang, speaking in an unquestionable tone. Usually when you're wandering outside, Big Brother and I don't bother with you, but you've caused quite a stir this time. You and Bibaidong of Spirit Hall have become the laughingstock of the entire continent. Big Brother and I have discussed it. If we let you continue acting recklessly, their entire Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family will be disgraced because of you. Big Brother needs to preside over the family, so he sent me to fetch you. This time you must come back with me. From now on, stay honestly within the family. There will always be a meal for you. You'd better not harbor any schemes. Big Brother sent me personally, which means his mind is made up. Even if I have to use force, I will take you back. This matter is not up for negotiation. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang instantly raised his head, his eyes full of resentment and indignation. Finally, he summoned his courage and refused loudly. I'm not going back to be mocked after I return. I still have my unfinished career to complete. I need to train my disciple. I want to prove the correctness of my theories through Little San. As long as Little San becomes a titled Douluo through my training, it will prove that a titled Douluo can be manufactured. Under the guidance of my correct theories, even a trash spirit like Blue-Silver Grass can become a titled Douluo-level Blue-Silver Grass Spirit Master. There are no trash spirits, only trash spirit masters. Even though I only have level 29 spirit power, as long as I can train the first titled Douluo, then a second, even a third, a fourth. Then no one on the continent will ever look down on me, Yu Xiaogang, again. One day I will make the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family proud of me. Yu Luomian's eyes widened, and a terrifying pressure of a superior person radiated from him, pressing down on Yu Xiaogang like a mountain, causing Yu Xiaogang's body to tremble violently. He let out a majestic roar. How dare you, Yu Xiaogang, you actually refuse to listen to me. Do you think you're above everyone? Still talking about how there are no trash spirits, only trash spirit masters. Aren't you exactly a piece of trash? If you want to prove you're not trash, then at least break through level 29 spirit power first. A piece of trash with level 29 spirit power thinking he can train a titled Douluo is nothing but a pipe dream. Whether it's your pig spirit or some blue-silver grass spirit, if such garbage trash spirits could become titled Douluo, then wouldn't every spirit master in our family, with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon spirit, become a super Douluo? Trash is trash. There's a limit to wishful thinking. You want the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family to be proud of you. Right now, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family is disgraced because of you. If we keep letting you run wild outside and ruin the reputation of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family, our family's spirit masters will soon be too ashamed to walk the continent. Yu Luomian's words were like sharp knives stabbing into Yu Xiaogang's heart, making his face flush red and the veins on his forehead bulge, as if he might lose his mind at any moment. At this moment, Yu Luomian stood up from his chair. The pressure intensified further, forcing Yu Xiaogang back a few steps and instantly clearing his head. His gaze became panicked. Watching Yu Luomian approach him step by step, Yu Xiaorogang's earlier bravado vanished, and he hurriedly shouted toward the door. "Flender Erlongs, help me!" As soon as he spoke, Flender and Liu Erlong rushed in from outside, shielding Yu Xiaorogang from both sides. Flender's expression was incredibly solemn. He knew Yu Luomian's identity and strength, a spirit Douluo-level Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Spirit Master. Unless they used their spirit fusion technique, they had no way to contend with him. But for his brother's sake, Flender gritted his teeth and stepped forward. "Senior, since Xiaorogang is unwilling to go back with you, why force him? You are Xiaorogang's second uncle, and Xiaorogang is your nephew. Blood is thicker than water, we really don't want to fight you." Yu Luomian glanced at the one-armed Flender with a look of contempt. A mere spirit saint, especially a one-armed one, actually dared to interfere in his business. He then glanced at Liu Erlong, anger welling in his eyes as he said fiercely, "Vile creature, get over here right now, do you want to oppose me too?" Liu Erlong's expression froze. Although she was only an illegitimate daughter, Yu Luomian was still her father. Defying her own father was indeed an agonizingly difficult matter. She looked back at Yu Xiaorogang, seeing the determination on his face, preferring death over returning to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family. Liu Erlong made up her mind completely. "Father, Xiaorogang cannot go with you. He has dreams and ambitions. He shouldn't be trapped in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family. I beg of you, give him his freedom, please." The veins on Yu Luomian's forehead bulged. Yu Xiaorogang wouldn't listen, Flender dared to interfere, and Liu Erlong dared to defy his will. One after another, they were all challenging his limit. He finally stopped holding back. With a boom, a violent spirit power pressure erupted from his body. In the surrounding space, there were faint crackles of blue-purple lightning. Yu Luomian raised his right hand, a ball of lightning flashing in his palm. "Refusing the easy way only to take the hard way. I've said my piece, and since you won't listen, I'll have to use force." Yu Xiaorogang, Flender, and Liu Erlong all felt their bodies weigh down under Yu Luomian's spirit power pressure. Yu Xiaorogang, having the weakest strength, fell to his knees with a thud. With a greatly changed expression, Yu Xiaorogang said, "Flender Erlong, use the spirit fusion technique immediately." Solar Lunar Golden Radiance. In an instant, under Yu Xiaorogang's blade, golden light erupted from the bodies of Yu Xiaorogang, Flender, and Liu Erlong. The three golden lights fused together, finally creating a power that could contend with Yu Luomian. Wrapped in the golden light, Yu Xiaorogang stood up. He summoned his spirit, Liu Sanpao, and two spirit rings rose from beneath his feet. He glared fixedly at Yu Luomian. "Second uncle, stop pushing me. If you insist on taking me away, don't blame me for disregarding our family ties." Yu Luomian's face twitched and his gaze darkened. He really wanted to strike now, but facing their spirit fusion technique, even with a dead weight like Yu Xiaorogang, he wasn't 100% sure he could win. If he won, that would be fine. But if he accidentally lost, where would his face go? After hesitating, Yu Luomian withdrew his spirit power pressure. His cold gaze swept over Flender and Liu Erlong before finally settling on Yu Xiaorogang. "Since you'd rather oppose me than return to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family, then don't ever come back. Don't think Big Brother will indulge you forever. When I set out this time, Big Brother said, if you're willing to return, you're still a part of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family. If you're not, then to prevent you from bringing trouble and disgrace to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family, you will be completely expelled. From now on, you, Yu Xiaorogang, have nothing to do with our Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family." With those words, Yu Luomian turned and left, leaving Yu Xiaorogang no room for regret. Yu Xiaorogang's face turned pale, and his lips trembled. "I've been expelled from the family." Yu Xiaorogang was definitely not someone who didn't care about his family. Judging from the original plot, after the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family was destroyed, Yu Xiaorogang cried more bitterly than anyone. It was obvious that Yu Xiaorogang cared deeply about the family. His ability to wander the continent leisurely was also inseparable from the prestige of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon family. He just didn't want to go back and be mocked. He still thought about returning to the sect with endless honor after training Tang San, making everyone look at him in a new light. To make all those clansmen who once looked down on him admire, respect, and value him. Now everything was ruined. Yu Xiaorogang felt his vision go dark. With a spurt, Yu Xiaogang coughed up blood, his body swayed, and he fell to the ground, fainting directly. Chapter 177, Bibai Dong is a fallen spirit master. After a long while, Yu Xiaogang slowly woke up, a groan escaping his lips. Water! Hearing Yu Xiaogang's voice, the people waiting by the bed scrambled to find water for him. Liu Erlong helped Yu Xiaogang sit up in bed. With a relieved look on her face, she sighed and said, "That's great, Xiaogang, you're awake." Then Tang San walked to the bedside with a glass of water, feeding it to Yu Xiaogang bit by bit, and said with a nervous expression, "Teacher, are you all right now? You still have to train me to become a titled Douluo. Nothing can happen to you." Thinking of the humiliation Lu Chen had brought upon him, Tang San was desperate to increase his strength. To increase his strength, he could not do without Yu Xiaogang's help. Only by relying on Yu Xiaogang's wisdom, which was as deep as the sea, could Tang San possibly increase his strength rapidly. Therefore, Tang San's concern for Yu Xiaogang was also heartfelt. After drinking some water and moistening his throat, Yu Xiaogang felt his spirits improve slightly, and his muddled mind gradually cleared. Remembering how Yu Luomian had said he would be completely removed from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan before he fainted, Yu Xiaogang felt his heart twitch in pain again, and his head began to spin. He could almost not control it, he felt like he was about to faint again. This was definitely not the ending he wanted. He still wanted to return to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan with honor after training Tang San, to make those clansmen who once looked down on him, especially that second uncle who despised him, see him in a completely new light and treat him with respect from then on. Yu Xiaogang's mindset was shattered. He used his peerless wisdom to think about the current situation and whether there was any way to salvage it. His eyes darted back and forth, and suddenly, after seeing Tang San, a burning light shone in his eyes. He reached out his arms, pressing them firmly onto Tang San's shoulders, and spoke with a low, incredibly determined voice. "Little San, I will definitely train you to become a titled Douluo, and I will make you a super Douluo with a spirit power of level 95 or higher. When that time comes, we, teacher and disciple, will settle all debts and grudges. Let all those who once brought us shame regret it." Yu Xiaogang had already realized that as long as his disciple, Tang San, became a super Douluo of level 95 or higher, Yu Xiaogang, as the teacher of a super Douluo, would surely be in high demand. His father and his second uncle might even personally invite him back to teach the next generation of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, hoping he could lead the family even further. Thinking of this, Yu Xiaogang felt incredibly excited, and then he looked at Tang San with burning eyes. Right now, he was like a gambler who had lost everything, placing his final bet on Tang San. Tang San was also filled with passion, and he nodded vigorously. "Teacher, I will work hard." In his heart, he thought that once he became a level 95 Super Douluo, he would surely be able to take Zyro Wu back from Lu Chen's side. "Zyro Wu, wait for me. Give me 20 years. No, give me 10 years, and I will definitely have the power to defeat Lu Chen. I will let you know that only I am the most reliable." A forced, ugly smile appeared on Yu Xiaogang's stiff face, and then he struggled to get out of bed. "Little San, help me up. I need to go to Spirit Hall." Yu Xiaogang intended to find Bibai Dong and ask her about the cultivation method for twin spirits. Hearing Yu Xiaogang's words, Liu Erlong immediately became upset. She had been quite happy that Yu Xiaogang had woken up. But as soon as he woke up, he wanted to go to Spirit Hall to find that Bibai Dong. Liu Erlong was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Her fur immediately stood on end. Her eyes were slightly red as she glared at Yu Xiaogang. "Yu Xiaogang, not long ago I broke ties with my father for you, and now I am standing on the opposite side of my father. And yet, as soon as you wake up, you want to go to Spirit Hall to find that Bibai Dong. What, do you feel sorry for her? Right, she is your old lover. You two once spent romantic nights together, whispering sweet nothings. Now that you know Bibai Dong was defiled by her teacher, you surely can't stand it. You're in such a hurry to comfort her. Do you want to rekindle your old flame and relive the beautiful times of the past?" Yu Xiaogang's face stiffened, and he rebuked her with some embarrassment and anger. "Erlong, you are simply being unreasonable. I am definitely not going for my personal feelings. I am going to figure some things out so that I can better train my disciple Tang San. Bibi Dong and I are already a thing of the past. The only thing I want to do now is to train my disciple Tang San to be successful. Hearing this, Liu Erlong said even more sarcastically, "Who knows what you're thinking in your heart? Besides, if you go to Spirit Hall, will Bibi Dong necessarily help you? In short, I won't allow you to go to Spirit Hall. If you dare to step out of this door today, I will leave for good, and you'll never see me again. Between Bibi Dong and me, it's either her or me. You decide." As soon as these words were spoken, Yu Xiaogang felt extremely conflicted. Liu Erlong was the slaughter corner of the Golden Triangle. Without Liu Erlong, their spirit fusion skill, the Golden Sacred Dragon, could not be performed at all. Without the Golden Sacred Dragon, if he encountered any trouble, Yu Xiaogang wouldn't even have the means to deal with it. With no other choice, Yu Xiaogang could only lie back down. "If I don't go, I don't go. There is nothing between Bibi Dong and me. If I don't go to ask her, it just means I'll have to spend a bit more time on research." In his heart, however, Yu Xiaogang planned to find an opportunity to go secretly. As long as he didn't tell Liu Erlong, it would be fine. But little did he know, Yu Xiaogang would have no chance to see Bibi Dong again. Because at this time, Lu Chen had already finished writing the sequel to The Romantic Affairs of Supreme Pontiff Bibi Dong, which detailed how Bibi Dong had completely blackened and fallen into becoming a fallen spirit master after being forced by Qian Zunji to give birth to a daughter. By a stroke of luck, her teacher, Qian Zunji, was seriously injured by Tang Hao, who had just broken through to become a titled Douluo. Although the injuries were severe, they were not fatal. But this gave Bibi Dong an opportunity. While Qian Zunji was seriously injured, Bibi Dong used her second martial soul, the soul-eating Spider Emperor, to completely devour Qian Zunji's life. Through sacrificing Qian Zunji, who possessed the angel spirit, she gained the favor of the Rakshasa god and became the successor of the Rakshasa god. The Rakshasa god was an ancient evil god who controlled the darkest evil intent energy in the world: depravity, evil, debauchery, tyranny. As long as Bibi Dong inherited the Rakshasa god position, it would bring destruction to the Douluo Continent. Only a Douluo Continent that was completely destroyed and devoid of order would be a breeding ground for evil intent. The infinite evil intent generated would allow the Rakshasa god to completely sublimate, transcend the continent, enter the god realm, and even become the sole dominator of the god realm. Because of the previous groundwork, as soon as the sequel to this erotica book appeared on the black market, it was snatched up by everyone. 3 million copies of the erotica sequel were completely sold out in less than 3 days. And after reading the sequel, all the various forces, from the royalty of the two great empires down to the ordinary commoners, fell into a state of panic. Bibi Dong's ultimate goal was actually to destroy the continent and let her power completely transcend after becoming the Rakshasa god. Spirit Hall had always taken the maintenance of order on the continent as its responsibility, capturing fallen spirit masters all over the continent, yet the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall was a fallen spirit master herself. This was simply an irony. It was a huge joke. Furthermore, Bibi Dong also wanted to completely destroy the world. The two great empires, various kingdoms, duchies, and numerous spirit master sects and families all sent inquiries to Spirit Hall. In an instant, Spirit Hall was pushed to the forefront of the storm. This former holy land of spirit masters was isolated by all spirit masters on the continent. Even the interior of Spirit Hall was split into 2 parts. One part was loyal to Bibi Dong and firmly believed she would not destroy the world, while the other part questioned Bibi Dong and felt she would destroy everything. This made Bibi Dong furious. Her ultimate goal had not yet been implemented, but it had already been exposed. Things had developed to this point. She was already in a position where she could not explain herself. Chapter 178, Qian Dalu steps out. Spirit City, Elder Hall. Under a 100-foot-tall angel statue stood a majestic old man wearing white robes with golden patterns, his hair and beard completely white. The old man had a handsome appearance. Although there were wrinkles at the corners of his eyes, it did not hinder him from being a handsome old man. One could imagine that when the old man was young, he must have been dashing and handsome. This old man was none other than the high priest of the Elder Hall, one of the 3 super Douluo of the Douluo Continent, invincible in the sky, Chen Dalu. In front of Chen Dalu, a book was floating. As his mental force surged, within just a few blinks, he finished reading all the content in the book. After finishing, Chen Dalu looked up and let out a sigh. Wretched fate. This matter has finally been exposed. I don't know what kind of sacred being this is, to be able to peek at the entire process of Bibaidong devouring my son, and even expose her identity as the successor to the Rakshasa god. Although Bibaidong devoured my son, it was my son who let her down first. Plus, she is Xyroxu's mother, which is why I spared her and acquiesced to her becoming the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall. Now that the truth is exposed, it will inevitably bring a huge shock to Xyroxu's heart. Her mother killed her father. If she cannot accept this truth, she will inevitably be left with psychological trauma, creating an eternal flaw in her heart. And there is Bibaidong's identity as the successor to the Rakshasa god. The angel god and the Rakshasa god are enemies. As a servant of the angel god, I absolutely cannot watch Bibaidong successfully inherit the god position of the Rakshasa god. As a servant of the gods, I cannot make a move against a successor to a divinity. It seems I can only bring Xyroxu back. As long as Xyroxu becomes the successor of the angel god, both being successors to divinities, even if Xyroxu kills Bibaidong, it would not be breaking the rules. It is just bitter for this child, needing to kill her own mother with her own hands, but this is the destiny of the angel god and the Rakshasa god. Chen Dalu's expression turned solemn. With a flash, he flew out of the hall, and his voice spread far away. Golden Crocodile, Kingluan, Lion, Guangaling, 6 Pontiff Qianjun, Jiangmo, you all come with me. Bibaidong is suspected of becoming a fallen spirit master. As the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, there must be no such stain on her. If Bibaidong cannot prove her innocence, then we can only temporarily ask her to abdicate and be imprisoned in the Douluo Hall to purify the darkness, filth, and evil in her heart. As the words fell, 6 powerful auras spread out from the darkness of the Elder Hall. 6 figures flashed with various lights, following behind Chen Dalu, flying towards the outside of the hall. 6 voices sounded in unison. As you command. Spirit City, Supreme Pontiff Palace. Suddenly, 7 powerful auras descended from the sky. The world changed color, wind and clouds gathered, the surrounding air became viscous, and the energy in the air ceased to flow. Just the aura released created a barrier out of thin air, enough to suppress any expert below titled Douluo. Even experts above titled Douluo would have their strength suppressed by more than 30%. This was comparable to a domain. Bibaidong's henchmen, Yuguan and Guimei, originally wanted to shout about an enemy attack, but when they saw the 7 figures of Chen Dalu, Golden Crocodile, Lion, Kingluan, Guangaling, 6 Pontiff Qianjun, and Jiangmo descending from the sky, they immediately bent their waists, and cold sweat dripped from their foreheads. Yue Guan Guimei pays respects to the High Priest, 2nd Priest, 3rd Priest, 4th Priest, 5th Priest, 6th Pontiff Qianjun, and 7th Priest. Chen Dalu glanced at Yu Guan and Guimei, which caused their hearts to shake violently. They bent their waists even lower, as if 2 mountains were pressing on their shoulders. He spoke casually. We are here to deal with Bibaidong's matter. She is suspected of murdering the previous Supreme Pontiff, and is no longer fit to hold the position of Supreme Pontiff. In the name of the 7 priests of the Elder Hall, go and summon all the elders of the Elder Palace to come for a meeting, and vote together on whether to remove the Supreme Pontiff. Chen Dalu's tone was casual, but hearing it, Yu Guan and Guimei's pupils shrank. They immediately knew that the times were about to change. Yue Guan and Guimei dared not delay in the slightest. The 2 figures flashed out to go to the Elder Palace to summon all the elders. After Yu Guan and Guimei left, Bibaidong, wearing a purple-gold dress, wearing a 9-curved purple-gold crown, and holding a platinum scepter, walked out of the Supreme Pontiff Palace with a blank expression. Her gaze swept over the 7 priests led by Chen Dalu, and she could not help but tremble in her heart. Currently, Bibaidong had level 98 spirit power, but because of the Rakshasa god's trials, she could not exert her full strength. It was impossible for her to be Chen Dalu's opponent, let alone the fact that Chen Dalu had brought the other 6 priests. This was clearly to prevent Bibaidong from jumping over the wall in desperation. Even though Bibaidong was the successor to the Rakshasa god, before truly becoming a god, she could not fight 1 against 7 and defeat the 7 priests led by Chen Dalu. Bibaidong had a blank expression, and her voice sounded majestically. High Priest, today you and the other 6 priests are not in the Elder Hall in seclusion to improve your strength, but have come to my Supreme Pontiff Palace. I wonder what advice you have. Kyan Daelu looked at Bibaidong, his eyes piercing, as if he wanted to see through her. However, Bibaidong's body seemed to be shrouded in a layer of mist, making him unable to see clearly. On Bibaidong's body, there was Rakshasa divine force covering her. Even though Kyan Daelu had the strength of a level 99 Super Douluo, he was still human in essence, and naturally could not see through Bibaidong's essence. Bibidong was able to open the Rakshasa god's legacy in Spirit City under Kyan Daelu's nose, so she naturally had confidence. If it weren't for that damn little yellow book exposing all of Bibaidong's trump cards, she wouldn't have fallen into such a passive situation. Kyan Daelu said coldly, Bibidong, now you are suspected of murdering the previous Supreme Pontiff. We suspect that you have fallen into a fallen spirit master. Before you clear your name, you are no longer fit to hold the position of Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall. I have already asked Yu Guan and Gui Mei to go and summon the other elders to vote on whether to remove you. Bibidong cursed Kyan Daelu in her heart, but remained calm on the surface. If you want to condemn, why worry about not having a pretext? Ever since I took the position of Supreme Pontiff, I have been diligent and conscientious, never daring to have any negligence. I have developed Spirit Hall to be thriving and have struck the fallen spirit masters on the continent until they have nowhere to hide. Now the High Priest suspects that I murdered the previous Supreme Pontiff and suspects that I am a fallen spirit master. This is simply nonsense. Justice is in the hearts of the people. I believe that my actions are seen by all the elders, and they will make the right decision. Although the priests of the Elder Hall had noble status, they had no actual power. According to the system of Spirit Hall, Kyan Daelu could not directly remove Bibaidong from her position as Supreme Pontiff. It required the 9 elders of the Elder Palace to vote. They were the daily managers of Spirit Hall. After the 9 elders voted, they could even remove the Supreme Pontiff. Not long after, summoned by Yu Guan and Gui Mei Devil Bear Douluo, Ghost Leopard Douluo, Spirit Kite Douluo, Holy Dragon Douluo, and Sea Turtle Douluo all gathered. Among the 9 titled Douluo elders of the Elder Palace, except for Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, the other 7 titled Douluo elders had all gathered here. Kyan Daelu's gaze swept over them, and he spoke with a serious and solemn tone. Except for Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, 7 of the 9 elders are already here. With you 7, it is enough to represent the overall will of Spirit Hall. Now Bibaidong is suspected of murdering the previous Supreme Pontiff, and I suspect that she has fallen into a fallen spirit master, and she is no longer fit to continue to serve as the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall. You express your stance, whether to remove her and temporarily imprison her in the Douluo Hall. Then we will investigate Bibaidong. We will not wrong any good person, and we will not let go of any bad person. As long as Bibaidong is innocent, she will eventually come out to serve as the Supreme Pontiff. If Bibaidong is suspicious, then let her be imprisoned in the Douluo Hall, purifying the darkness, filth, and evil in her heart. The 7 titled Douluo elders at the scene looked at Bibaidong, then at Kyan Daelu, and then at the 6 priests beside Kyan Daelu who were eager to try. Almost without much hesitation, they made a decision. Agree to temporarily remove the Supreme Pontiff. Even Yu Guan and Gui Mei, the 2 loyal dogs under Bibaidong, raised their hands to agree to remove Bibaidong from the position of Supreme Pontiff. Bibidong saw this scene and was greatly stimulated. She looked at these elders in disbelief. Yous do not hesitate at all. Bibidong was very devastated in her heart. She thought that she had won the support of these elders. Even if Kyan Daelu came out of the mountain, these elders would definitely be willing to stand with her. The reality slapped her hard. These elders, without exception, chose Kyan Daelu without any hesitation. It was as if Bibaidong's solicitation was a joke. Especially Yu Guan and Gui Mei. The look in Bibaidong's eyes when she looked at them was like 2 knives, almost tearing their bodies apart. Bibidong overestimated herself and underestimated the prestige of the Kyan family in Spirit Hall. Bibidong had only been Supreme Pontiff for 10 years, but the Kyan family had been Supreme Pontiffs for generations, for over 10,000 years. Even if Bibaidong promoted some people, if they were really asked to choose, 9 out of 10 would still choose the Kyan family. Unless Bibaidong selected geniuses from the commoners and cultivated them for 100 years, cultivating a bunch of titled Douluo, Spirit Saint, Spirit Emperor, and completely replaced the blood of Spirit Hall. Otherwise, it would be impossible to completely erase the influence of the Qian family. After all, even Bibaidong was able to successfully serve as the Supreme Pontiff because she was Qian Zunji's disciple. She was deeply tied to the Qian family. Loyalty to Bibaidong and loyalty to the Qian family were originally a choice. If they had to be separated into two choices, they would still choose to be loyal to the Qian family. Not to mention that Bibaidong was not clean now, entangled with Yu Zairogang, murdered the previous Supreme Pontiff, her own teacher Qian Zunji, and was also the successor to an evil god, the Rakshasa god, a presence that was almost going to destroy the continent. Therefore, removing Bibaidong became an inevitable choice. Bibaidong was so angry that her chest heaved violently. Murderous intent boiled in her heart, and she wished she could kill all these people in front of her. At the beginning, they swore loyalty to her, making her really think that she had completely controlled Spirit Hall. As a result, now that Qian Dalu came out, these titled Douluo elders all defected, and none of them stood firmly by her side. Bibaidong's lungs were about to explode with anger. The platinum scepter in her hand was deformed by her, and she didn't know how many platinum scepters had been deformed by her. In the end, Bibaidong swept her eyes over everyone present, Qian Dalu and the other 6 priests, Yu Guan, Gui Mei, and the other 5 elders. She screamed sharply, "Qian Dalu, you will definitely regret it." Qian Dalu was not surprised by this scene at all, including Bibaidong. Which of these priests and elders present had he not watched grow up? A Bibaidong wanted to challenge his authority, unless Bibaidong really became a divinity. Otherwise, it was still too early. Qian Dalu said lightly, "Bibaidong, you are no longer the Supreme Pontiff." Chapter 179, The Source of All Problems, Yu Zairogang, Happy New Year's Eve. Spirit Hall. Under the witness of the elders and numerous high-ranking officials, Bibaidong, who had been removed from the position of Supreme Pontiff, was imprisoned within Douluo Hall. No matter how much Bibaidong resisted, she could not defy the current Qian Dalu before she had achieved godhood. With just a single appearance, Qian Dalu reclaimed the authority of Spirit Hall that Bibaidong had held for 10 long years. But to be honest, he was not particularly keen on power now. All he wanted to see was his granddaughter become a god. Qian Dalu then swept his gaze across everyone present. Yue Guan Gui Mei release an announcement in the name of Spirit Hall. State that Bibaidong, suspected of conspiring to murder the previous Supreme Pontiff and suspected of being a fallen spirit master, has now been removed from her position as Supreme Pontiff. She is currently being held in Douluo Hall, awaiting an internal investigation by Spirit Hall. If all this is true, we will absolutely not tolerate such evil. If it is false, we will clear her name. Until everything is clarified, I, Qian Dalu, in my capacity as the High Priest of the Elder Hall, will temporarily act as the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall. With my past prestige and reputation, it should be enough to calm the current public outcry and provide an explanation to the 2 great empires and the various spirit master sects and families. Our Spirit Hall has always been the holy land for the continent's spirit masters, taking the maintenance of order as our responsibility. With the angel god above, may the light forever shine upon the continent. Yue Guan and Gui Mei, those 2 loyal dogs under Bibaidong's command, naturally shifted their allegiance. Hearing Qian Dalu's order, they bowed with utmost respect and replied, "As you command." As soon as they finished speaking, Yu Guan and Gui Mei instantly vanished. A flicker of longing then passed through Qian Dalu's eyes. 6 Pontiff Qianjun, demons subduing Douluo, you 2 brothers take Little Xu's body double and go to the Heaven Du Empire in secret to bring Little Xu back. As the High Priest of the Elder Hall, I cannot act as the Supreme Pontiff forever. This position still needs someone to take over. Compared to the plan to seize the Heaven Du Empire, the vacancy of Spirit Hall's Supreme Pontiff is a more serious issue. Bring Little Xu back. I will personally teach her to cultivate and let her strength grow rapidly until she is capable of serving as the Supreme Pontiff. As for the original plan to seize the empire, it's best if it succeeds, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present felt a chill in their hearts. Although Chen Dalu didn't say it explicitly, it was no different from saying it openly. He clearly had no intention of returning the position of Supreme Pontiff to Bibaidong. From Chen Dalu's meaning, he wanted to bring Chen Renxu back to be groomed as the next generation's Supreme Pontiff. As long as Chen Renxu's strength met the standard, she could become the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall with his support. But was there a problem with that? There was no problem at all. Chen Renxu's grandfather Chen Dalu was once the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, her father Chen Zunji was once the Supreme Pontiff, and her mother Bibaidong was also once the Supreme Pontiff. With such a prestigious lineage, Chen Renxu was more than qualified to hold the position of Supreme Pontiff. The only thing she lacked was sufficient strength. However, under Chen Dalu's personal tutelage, her strength would surely increase by leaps and bounds. Therefore, none of those present raised any objections. Thousand Jun Douluo and demons subduing Douluo also readily agreed, and quickly set off for the Heaven Du Empire. After arranging everything, Chen Dalu waved his hand at the crowd and said, "All right, you may all leave. There's no need to stay with this old man. Go and attend to your duties. Additionally, soothe the emotions of those below. Do not let the removal of Bibaidong from her position affect the normal operations of Spirit Hall." As his voice fell, the remaining people all bowed respectfully and said, "As you command." Then the elders and high-ranking officials dispersed. That night, Heaven Du City, Crown Prince's residence. Zhu Qinghe was alone in the study, with 7 or 8 empty wine bottles on the floor, slumped over the table in a drunken stupor. During this period, Zhu Qinghe had suffered unprecedented inner torment. Her father had forced himself upon her mother. Her mother had killed her father. Although the root of all this was still her mother Bibaidong's initial betrayal of Spirit Hall. But caught between the two, Zhu Qinghe didn't know who she should hate. She now wished she had never been born, perhaps then she wouldn't have this pain. Why did it turn out like this? Who caused my tragedy, and who should I hate? Zhu Qinghe laughed miserably. She then closed her eyes, replaying the story from beginning to end. Suddenly, she snapped her eyes open, her gaze projecting an unprecedented killing intent. "You Xiaogang. It's all because of this damn bastard. If he hadn't seduced Bibaidong and made her think of betraying Spirit Hall, father wouldn't have treated her so extremely. Perhaps my entire tragedy could have been completely rewritten. This beast-like thing, a piece of trash who can't break through the 29th level of spirit power. I must have him dead. I will tear him into 10,000 pieces." And the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, to have raised such a despicable fellow like Yu Xiaogang, they certainly can't be anything good either. "Damn Yu Xiaogang, damn Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, I will kill you all, kills you all." Zhu Qinghe gnashed her teeth, the killing intent in her eyes almost becoming tangible. She had finally found an object for her hatred. The source of all problems was that damn Yu Xiaogang. Just then, the door to the study opened. Zhu Qinghe frowned and looked over, about to say not to disturb her if there was nothing important. Instead, she saw Thousand Jun Douluo and Demon, subduing Douluo walking into the study with a young man who looked 90% like her. Zhu Qinghe stood up unsteadily, her face still showing the haze of intoxication, and asked with a look of confusion. "Elder Thousand Jun, Elder Demon subduing, why are you two here?" Seeing Zhu Qinghe, or rather, Chen Renxu, this drunk, Thousand Jun Douluo and Demon subduing Douluo felt a pang of heartache. They had watched her grow up and had long since regarded her as their own granddaughter. Thousand Jun Douluo said with a worried expression, "Little Zhu, why are you so drunk? It seems that knowing about your father and mother has indeed dealt you a heavy blow." Damon subduing Douluo said with a serious face, "Little Zhu, Bibaidong's position as Supreme Pontiff has been revoked by the High Priest. Now the High Priest is temporarily acting in that role. But this is not a long-term solution. Spirit Hall cannot be without a Supreme Pontiff. According to the High Priest's instructions, you no longer need to execute the plan to seize the Empire. Leave the remaining matters to him. It's best if it succeeds, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. Little Zhu, come back with us. The High Priest wants to personally guide your cultivation. Once your strength has improved, you will be qualified to take the position of Supreme Pontiff. Hearing these words, Zhu Qinghe shook her head vigorously, using her spirit power to dispel the drunkenness in her body, which quickly cleared her mind. She looked at her body double. The double looked 90% like her. If they kept a low profile, they shouldn't be easily exposed. However, the other party was not her, after all. Once she left and let the other party take her place to execute the plan, whether the empire could be successfully seized would truly depend on fate. Having been an undercover agent for 10 full years, Qian Renxiu's most beautiful youth had been spent in the Heaven Du Empire. Asking her to give up the plan now was like negating all her efforts, making her feel exceptionally uncomfortable. However, Qian Renxiu eventually agreed. Fine, Elder Thousand Jun, Elder Demon Subduing, I will go back with you. I have wasted 10 whole years of cultivation time. Continuing the plan will only waste more of it. I am willing to go back and receive Grandfather's guidance. The day my strength is sufficient, and I take office as the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, I will definitely tear Yu Xiaogang into 10,000 pieces, and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, I will make them completely disappear from the continent. Hearing that Qian Renxiu was willing to return, Thousand Jun Douluo and Demon, Subduing Douluo were both very happy. As for her wanting to kill Yu Xiaogang and destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, those were minor matters. For Qian Renxiu, although going back like this was equivalent to erasing 10 years of hard work. But now, with anger rising in her heart, she only wanted to seek complete justice for her tragic life. The love-hate entanglement of her parents was all because of Yu Xiaogang. Therefore, Yu Xiaogang had to die. Afterward, the body double stayed behind, and Qian Renxiu left Heaven Du City with Thousand Jun Douluo and Demon, Subduing Douluo. Chapter 180, Tang Hao reappears, Happy New Year's Eve. Qian Renxiu returns to Spirit Hall. Except for the high-level officials of Spirit Hall, no one knew this information. Another piece of information made public was that the current Supreme Pontiff, Bibai Dong, had been dismissed by Qian Dalu. This news was like a storm, quickly sweeping across the entire Douluo Continent. Whether it was the two great empires or the various spirit master sects and families, everyone was praising Qian Dalu's decisiveness. Many spirit masters on the continent also regained their trust in Spirit Hall, feeling that there was certainly nothing wrong with Spirit Hall itself. It was simply a problem with Bibai Dong. Longevity sect. After Lu Chen learned of this news, he also laughed heartily. That madwoman Bibai Dong had repeatedly caused trouble for him, and now she had finally suffered a major setback. Having been dismissed from the position of Supreme Pontiff by Qian Dalu, Bibai Dong would no longer be able to stir up trouble on the continent. Furthermore, during this period, Lu Chen had made a fortune by selling erotica on the black market, considering it compensation from Bibai Dong. Without Bibai Dong's orders, Spirit Hall stopped spreading rumors about Lu Chen, allowing his Longevity Sect and Longevity Academy to finally begin recruiting disciples and students. Lu Chen handed over the disciples recruited by the Longevity Sect to Du Gubo. They were first accepted as outer sect disciples, and Du Gubo was tasked with evaluating whether they could be promoted to inner sect disciples. The students recruited by Longevity Academy were mostly of commoner origin, with average spirits and average innate spirit power. They didn't even have the optimal spirit ring configuration. Many had a setup of one white and one yellow spirit ring. They were willing to enroll in Longevity Academy because its tuition was low. Truly talented students would certainly prefer to go to the more famous 5 Elements academies. Lu Chen didn't care whether these people's talents were excellent or not. As long as they were willing to enroll, he was willing to accept them. The location of Longevity Academy was in the former 7 Treasure City. It covered a vast area, and with just a little renovation, it would become a massive academy with complete facilities. The students who enrolled in Longevity Academy enjoyed the highest quality resources for almost the cheapest tuition. This made all the enrolled students feel it was unbelievable. Lu Chen personally served as the Dean of Longevity Academy. He selected some spirit ancestors and spirit kings from the outer sect disciples of the Longevity sect to serve as teachers for Longevity Academy. The academy taught students according to their aptitude, opening power attack, agility attack, control, support, and defense classes. Additionally, students from these classes would attend a public lecture every day. The ideological education course led by Chen mainly analyzed the relationship between the emperor and the common people. It examined whether there was oppression and being oppressed, exploitation and being exploited, or deception and being deceived between the aristocratic class, led by the emperor, and the commoner class, led by the people. On the Douluo Continent, dominated by feudal imperial power, Chen's opening of such a course was undoubtedly very rebellious. But he didn't care. Even if it eventually reached Su Yi would only be able to rage impotently. The students he taught might not have the best talent. Many might not even break through to the Spirit King level in their entire lives. Chen was not discouraged. He wasn't cultivating top-tier experts. He was cultivating warriors who could break the shackles of thought and dare to completely shatter feudal imperial power along with him. When the concept of equality for all took root in people's hearts, the high-end mighty nobles and emperors would be completely swept into the dustbin of history. Chen's daily life became very regular. He would wake up in the morning, tear through space to go to the ice and fire yin-yang well, and use the blue-silver domains all rivers run to see on the 7-star dragon tongue orchid to accelerate its growth. In the morning, Chen would go to give ideological education classes to his students, criticizing nobles and emperors together, and getting these students from commoner backgrounds to speak out about the oppression and humiliation they had suffered. He used these shared memory symbols to ignite their anger toward the nobles and emperors. In the afternoon, Chen would cultivate himself. Although he was already a super Douluo with level 95 spirit power, he never slacked in his cultivation. Spending an entire afternoon cultivating every day made him feel his spirit power increasing. Before going to bed, Chen routinely checked the cultivation progress of Duguyan, Zyro Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing. Duguyan, Zyro Wu, and Zhu Zhuqing had all consumed immortal herbs and absorbed more than one spirit bone. Now, their talent was top-notch across the entire continent. Breaking through to become titled Douluo in the future was a certainty. Under their diligent cultivation, the spirit power in their bodies made significant progress almost every day. This satisfied Chen greatly, and after a fulfilling day, he entered his dreams full of harvest. On the other hand, while Chen's life was incredibly fulfilling, Tang Hao reappeared on the continent. Last time, Tang Hao thought Bibaidong had taken Yin, so he rushed to Spirit Hall. Despite being blocked by Bibaidong and 8 other titled Douluo, he forcibly collapsed the roof of the Supreme Pontiff Palace. At that time, he had exploded his first 8 spirit rings, in succession to unleash such terrifying power. Given his condition of being heavily injured and unhealed, exploding 8 spirit rings again nearly cost him his life. After several months of recuperation, the 8 spirit rings Tang Hao had exploded finally reformed. Although the spirit rings had reformed, the internal injuries in his body had become even more severe due to the intense battle last time. Tang Hao's face was now sallow. Although his body was tall and burly, it was almost an empty shell. He felt cold all over, and the sharp pain coming from everywhere inside his body made him feel exceptionally irritable. It could be said that the reason Tang Hao was still alive was thanks to his 6 spirit bones. These 6 spirit bones supported his body, allowing him to still move freely. Otherwise, with the way Tang Hao had abused his body, it should have collapsed long ago. Becoming a cripple would have been the least of it. Having reformed his spirit rings, Tang Hao could no longer suppress the longing for Yin in his heart. He returned to the continent, trying to find an opportunity to sneak into Spirit Hall and steal Yin back. As it turned out, the news he gathered left even Tang Hao dumbfounded. Bibaidong had been dismissed from the position of Supreme Pontiff because she was suspected of murdering the previous Supreme Pontiff and was also suspected of becoming a fallen spirit master. Wasn't the previous Supreme Pontiff, Qian Zunji, supposed to have died from unhealed injuries after being heavily wounded by him? It turned out that Qian Zunji had been devoured by Bibaidong. Upon learning this news, Tang Hao immediately lost his composure. Why was his Clear Sky sect forced into seclusion? It was because he had killed Qian Zunji. But it turned out Qian Zunji was devoured by Bibaidong. Tang Hao had completely taken the blame. This made Tang Hao jump in anger. He had always thought he had brought trouble to his sect, but it turned out he had been the scapegoat for Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong! Tang Hao let out a furious roar, wishing he could smash Bibi Dong into mincemeat with his clear sky hammer, blow by blow. Only then could he vent the rage in his heart. However, besides this, Tang Hao also heard some other news. For instance, the 7 treasure glazed tile school had been disbanded, and Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong had all been killed by Lu Chen alone. Lu Chen? Tang Hao's head was full of question marks. He knew about Lu Chen. He was that kid from Saint Spirit Village who had only awakened his spirit about 6 years ago. Only 6 years had passed. How could he possibly kill Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong and disband the 7 treasure glazed tile school by himself? Tang Hao began to doubt himself. He had only been in seclusion for a few months, not a dozen years. How could so many things have happened on the continent recently? He then spent some time looking for more information about Lu Chen. Lu Chen? First spirit, blue silver emperor possessing 9 spirit rings, 3 purple, 4 black and 2 red. Second spirit, black iron sickle, possessing 3 spirit rings, 2 black and 1 red. Tang Hao gasped in surprise. His son Tang San also had twin spirits. But right now, his son Tang San had not yet grown up. Yet Lu Chen, who was the same age as his son Tang San, had actually grown up in such a short time. Especially Lu Chen's first spirit, which had actually evolved into the blue silver emperor. Tang Hao clearly remembered that when Lu Chen's first spirit had just awakened, it was only blue silver grass. According to Yin, the blue silver emperor was unique. In the entire Douluo Continent, there was only one blue silver emperor, Yin. Now that Lu Chen's blue silver grass spirit had evolved into the blue silver emperor spirit, it led Tang Hao to make some connections. Tang Hao thought with a gloomy gaze. How exactly did he do it? Could it be that while I was away, he sneaked into the cave on the back mountain of Saint Spirit Village and stole the blue silver emperor bloodline from Yin, which allowed his blue silver grass spirit to evolve into the blue silver emperor spirit? Tang Hao suddenly shouted, "Unforgivable, Lu Chen, I want you dead." With those words, Tang Hao ignored his unhealed injuries and flew toward the location of the longevity sect. Chapter 181, Lu Chen battles Tang Hao. Happy New Year's Eve. Lu Chen, give Yin back to me. Above the longevity sect, a sudden, explosive shout rang out like a clap of thunder, the rumbling sound causing ears to sting with pain. Who goes there? How dare you run wild at the longevity sect? Do you not know that I am the Grand Elder of the longevity sect? A long whistle echoed from within the longevity sect. It was Du Gubo's voice. As his words fell, Du Gubo, clad in black robes, took to the air, ascending 100 meters into the sky in the blink of an eye. Du Gubo stood in the sky, his robes fluttering in the wind and his hair dancing wildly. His eyes were like lightning as he glared at the burly man opposite him, a man with ragged clothes, messy hair, and a sallow complexion. The terrifying pressure of a level 96 Super Douluo erupted from Du Gubo's body, sending ripples through the sky as it pressed toward the burly man. He intended to seize the initiative through sheer presence. Sensing this pressure, the burly man, Tang Hao, couldn't help but show a hint of solemnity in his bloodshot eyes. Tang Hao hadn't expected that a level 96 Super Douluo would stand in his way before the primary target. Lu Chen had even appeared. Facing a level 96 titled Douluo, even Tang Hao in his peak state would have to use all his trump cards to take down the current Du Gubo. Not to mention that Tang Hao was currently suffering from layered injuries and complex internal traumas. He could at most exert 70% of his peak combat power. Du Gubo alone was enough to give him a headache. However, it was impossible for Tang Hao to retreat. He secretly activated his slaughter god domain, continuously strengthening his aura until he seemed like a world-destroying god of slaughter descending upon the earth. A faint white light emanated from around him, condensing into thousands of sharp blades that shredded Du Gubo's terrifying pressure. It even caused Du Gubo's exposed skin to feel a faint chill. Tell Lu Chen to get out here. If he doesn't return Yin to me today, I will turn your sect upside down, slaughtering every living soul until rivers of blood flow. Tang Hao's roar was like a great bell. He did not fall behind in terms of momentum, and even managed to suppress Du Gubo slightly. Feeling the chill on his skin, Douluo was secretly shocked. He had originally thought that after his breakthrough to level 96 spirit power, he would have few rivals on the entire continent. He had wanted to come out and show off, but who could have known the enemy would be so formidable? Under the impact of the Slaughter God domain, even Douluo felt a trace of fear in his heart. This was one of the effects of the Slaughter God domain. It strengthened one's aura and granted the courage to fear nothing. Simultaneously, if an opponent's mind was not steadfast during battle, they would fall into endless terror, and their strength would be greatly diminished. Douluo felt fear, already influenced by the Slaughter God domain, but he refused to be intimidated. He did not retreat a single step. Clenching his fists with muscles tensed, he was ready for battle at any moment. He glared coldly at Tang Hao. "What boastful words! I'd like to see just how you plan to slaughter my sect, until not even a dog or chicken is left, and rivers of blood flow." Before he could finish, a clear voice rang out. "Brother Douluo, wait. The one he's looking for is me. He is Tang Hao, an enemy I loathe to the core. Let me face him. I've wanted to have a proper fight with him for a long time." Along with this voice, Chen, dressed in luxurious blue robes with long hair flowing and an incomparably handsome face, rose into the air from the longevity sect and arrived at Douluo's side in an instant. Seeing Tang Hao actively seek him out, Chen was excited. Scenes from the past flashed before his eyes, the humiliation Tang Hao had brought upon his parents and himself. Today, he could finally settle the old score. His hands were trembling slightly, not from fear, but from excitement. The thought of using these hands to ruthlessly pummel Tang Hao made him feel an uncontrollable thrill. When Chen appeared, Tang Hao's expression shifted into a daze as he saw the deep blue hair and that handsome face. That's right. This hair color and these features were completely different from the Chen of the past. Instead, they bore a striking resemblance to Yin. He must have been the one who took Yin and stole her blue-silver emperor bloodline, which is why such a world-shaking change occurred. Tang Hao's eyes widened in fury. He raised his right hand, and a burst of black light erupted from his palm. Within a few breaths, the black light condensed into a clear sky hammer engraved with blood-colored bat patterns. Beneath Tang Hao's feet, spirit rings rose one after another. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 and red. The 9 spirit rings complemented each other, rhythmically moving around his body. The final red spirit ring in particular radiated a suffocatingly terrifying pressure. Veins popped on Tang Hao's forehead as he glared at Chen and roared. "Chen, I should have slaughtered you back then. I never expected that a moment's oversight would give you the chance to grow. Give Yin back to me, and I might leave your corpse intact today. Otherwise, I will hack you into 10,000 pieces, and your sect will run red with blood." After Tang Hao summoned his spirit, Douluo observed him with considerable surprise. So this is the clear sky Douluo. Without his spirit summoned, he looks no different from a beggar on the street. However, this spirit power pressure is indeed terrifying. Even though his spirit power is clearly one level lower than mine, I feel like he can suppress me. Is it because of the 100,000-year spirit ring? Chen, you said years ago that you had an enemy. It turns out that enemy was Tang Hao. Since this is a personal grudge, I won't interfere much. I trust that with your strength, taking care of Tang Hao will certainly be no problem. As he spoke, Douluo actually retreated 100 meters away. He wasn't worried about Chen at all. Tang Hao's spirit ring configuration was indeed terrifying. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black, and 1 red. This was the optimal spirit ring configuration achievable under normal circumstances. But Chen, the spirit ring configuration of his first spirit was 3 purple, 4 black, and 2 red. The configuration of his second martial soul was 2 black and 1 red. With a total of 300,000-year spirit rings, dealing with Tang Hao would certainly be more than enough. Without looking back, Chen said to Douluo, "All right, brother Douluo, just protect the sect and don't let the aftershocks of our battle cause serious damage to it." As his voice fell, Chen also raised his right hand. A black light gushed from his palm, twisting and changing until it condensed into a black scythe 2 meters in size. Beneath Chen's feet, 3 spirit rings rose, black, black, and red. Although there were only 3, the spirit power pressure they emitted was not at all inferior to the 9 spirit rings on Tang Hao's body. Chen's expression was cold, his eyes sharp like a hawk's. He spoke loudly and with murderous intent. Tang Hao, I'm surprised you still remember me, but it's just as well. I also remember the humiliation you brought upon our family of 3. From the moment my parents collapsed to the ground, the hatred in my heart made me want to hack you into pieces and scatter your ashes. I'm not afraid to tell you, that blue-silver emperor you hid in the cave was indeed taken by me. Now, if you want her back, come and take her yourself if you have the ability. You don't want to let me go, and I don't want to let you go either. Today, I'll see who gets to live until the end. Hearing this and confirming that Yin was indeed with Lu Chen, the killing intent surging in Tang Hao's chest reached its peak. You are looking for death. Chapter 182, The Incomprehensible Intangibility Ability. Boom! Tang Hao kicked the air, triggering an explosion in midair. A circular shockwave spread out as he used the counterforce to propel himself like a cannonball, hurtling toward Lu Chen with the momentum of 1,000 thunderclaps. In a near instant, Tang Hao was within inches of Lu Chen. Lu Chen could even see the tyranny and cruelty on Tang Hao's sallow face. His eyes were blood-red, radiating a sky-high killing intent. Die! Tang Hao let out a thunderous roar, swinging the clear sky hammer in his hand. It brought about a series of sonic booms as it smashed down toward Lu Chen's head. As the clear sky Douluo, Tang Hao had fought throughout his life, and his combat experience was extremely rich. Lu Chen's second martial soul possessed 2 black spirit rings and 1 red spirit ring. Tang Hao had no idea what kind of spirit abilities these rings held. Therefore, the best response was to give Lu Chen no time to manifest any spirit abilities. The more powerful a spirit ability, the more time it required to charge. As long as Tang Hao didn't give Lu Chen time to accumulate power, it was equivalent to neutralizing the abilities of those 3 spirit rings. All 9 of Tang Hao's spirit rings were of the power amplification type, as he was a titled Douluo of the pure power type. Tang Hao's combat style had never relied on spirit abilities. Instead, it relied on his terrifying brute force and combat techniques honed to the peak. In a close quarters melee, Tang Hao would hold an absolute advantage. What a clear sky Douluo indeed, attacking the enemy's weakness with his own strength. In such a short time, he had made the most correct choice. Unfortunately, Tang Hao was facing Lu Chen. Lu Chen possessed a head spirit bone skill that was not offensive and required no long charging time. Intangibility. In an instant, ripples of space vibrated around Lu Chen's body. Following those spatial ripples, his body entered into a void space. Lu Chen's combat experience certainly couldn't compare to Tang Hao's, but his combat awareness was definitely not inferior. Going head-to-head with a pure power type titled Douluo like Tang Hao would definitely be asking for trouble. Before the clear sky hammer could smash into his head, Lu Chen hid his true body in the void space. Simultaneously, he swung the black iron sickle in a horizontal slashing motion from left to right. In the next instant, Tang Hao swung the clear sky hammer, and it passed right through Lu Chen's body. The fierce and overbearing clear sky hammer felt as if it had struck a mass of air. There was no sense of resistance whatsoever. It was as if the Lu Chen before him was merely a false illusion. A hint of confusion surfaced in Tang Hao's blood-red pupils. He hadn't seen Lu Chen's spirit rings light up. So this was a spirit bone skill. Just then, as Tang Hao and his hammer passed through Lu Chen's body, Lu Chen immediately swung his black iron sickle from left to right. With a crisp crack, the sharp blade of the black iron sickle instantly sliced into Tang Hao's waist and abdomen. Blood surged out. Tang Hao let out a muffled groan as his figure flashed forward. Pressing one hand against his still bleeding waist, he looked at Lu Chen in disbelief, then lowered his head to look at his own midsection. What kind of ability is this? When I attacked, your body turned into nothingness, and after my attack missed, your body became solid again and you slashed me back. What a sharp scythe. My tempered body couldn't even withstand the edge of that blade. Lu Chen glanced at the blade of the black iron sickle, watching the droplets of blood slide off. A wide, joyful smile appeared on his face. Haha, Tang Hao, when you were acting recklessly and bullying our family of 3 back then, did you ever think this day would come? This strike is for my father and mother. I will use my black iron sickle to tear you into 10,000 pieces, one cut at a time. Tang Hao gritted his teeth and glared at Lu Chen, feeling that this was extremely troublesome. As a pure power type titled Douluo, what he feared least was a head-on collision. But Lu Chen's ability could directly turn his body into nothingness. Tang Hao's attacks simply couldn't take effect. Moreover, at the very start of the exchange, Tang Hao's waist had suffered a massive tear. The continuous gushing of blood would cause his strength to keep declining. Tang Hao was not a support soul master and had no spirit abilities to recover from injuries. He had no way to heal the laceration at his waist. Iron bones. Tang Hao let out a low shout and activated a spirit bones skill. His muscles instantly bulged, making his entire frame a size larger. Under the pressure of the muscles, the bleeding from the wound at his waist was forcibly stopped. Though it only treated the symptoms and not the cause, it at least allowed him to continue fighting. Relying on his combat intuition, Tang Hao made a judgment and let out a roar like a dragon's cry and a tiger's howl. I don't believe this ability to turn your body into nothingness has no limit. There is no such thing as a perfect spirit ability. This seemingly incomprehensible power of yours must have some kind of flaw. Clear Sky 9 Absolutes. Tang Hao kicked out with a sonic boom, his figure flashing toward Lu Chen once again. Swinging the Clear Sky Hammer, he performed the Clear Sky 9 Absolutes: empty, seal, pierce, through, entangle, tremor, break, instant, and collapse. The Clear Sky 9 Absolutes were 9 types of force exertion techniques. By utilizing the vibrating power of the Clear Sky Hammer, they could unleash power not inferior to a 10,000-year spirit ability. Ordinary Clear Sky sect disciples could learn at most 3 of these force exertion techniques. But a core disciple like Tang Hao had fully mastered all 9 techniques. Through years of battle, Tang Hao had long since integrated these 9 techniques. Executing the Clear Sky 9 Absolutes now was like a torrential storm, making it impossible for anyone to predict his movements. In the sky, Tang Hao's figure seemed to split into 9. The Clear Sky Hammer in his hand attacked from all directions, causing the air to boom and emit a series of explosions. If it were any other titled Douluo, it would be impossible to remain unscathed under such a torrential assault from Tang Hao. But Lu Chen, with his true body hidden in the void space, stood there as if taking a leisurely stroll, never once dodging from beginning to end. Every time Tang Hao's Clear Sky Hammer passed through Lu Chen's body, it failed to cause any damage. Lu Chen watched Tang Hao with cold eyes. If his intangibility ability had a flaw, it was that it constantly consumed spirit power. However, Lu Chen's spirit power was vast. He was not afraid of a battle of attrition with Tang Hao. He wanted to see just how long Tang Hao could maintain such a torrential offensive. Top. Under the assault of the Clear Sky Hammer, the air let out a series of sharp pops, yet not even a corner of Lu Chen's clothes was damaged. Tang Hao was starting to lose his composure. He could clearly see the calm smile on Lu Chen's face, as if the boy were mocking him for only being able to hit the air despite using the Clear Sky 9 Absolutes. Lu Chen's body has turned into nothingness. My attacks are completely ineffective against him. If he doesn't deactivate this state, I could shatter the heavens with my hammer and still not hurt him in the slightest. I must attack what he is forced to save. Only by making him proactively deactivate his void state can I cause him damage. Thinking of this, Tang Hao suddenly flashed backward. He looked down at the sect below, his eyes radiating a violent killing intent. 7th Spirit Ability, Clear Sky Avatar. 9th Spirit Ability, Clear Sky Power. Among the 9 spirit rings beneath Tang Hao's feet, the 7th spirit ring and the 9th spirit ring lit up simultaneously. Under the surging pressure of his spirit power, even the air seemed to solidify. Chapter 183, 1,000-Mile Pursuit. Crackle. The Clear Sky Hammer in Tang Hao's hand, wrapped in blue electric arcs, quickly began to enlarge proportionally. Within just a few breaths, it had completely expanded into a 100-meter-tall black giant hammer. A terrifying pressure spread out, kicking up gusts of wild wind that swept in all directions. In the next instant, that 100-meter-tall black giant hammer actually burst with blood-red light. That eerie blood-red light dyed the entire sky blood-red, exuding a heart-palpitating sense of oppression. Seeing this scene, before Lu Chen could even speak, Douluo Dalu had already started cursing loudly. Tang Hao, fuck you, you're not fit to be called the Clear Sky Douluo. Since you can't hit Lu Chen, you're actually aiming at the longevity sect. How many ordinary spirit masters are in the longevity sect? Do do you want to vent your anger on ordinary spirit masters? Douluo cursed at Tang Hao because his granddaughter, Douluo Yan, was also in the longevity sect at this time. Once that 100-meter giant hammer smashed into the longevity sect, those ordinary spirit masters would likely be instantly crushed into meat paste, including his granddaughter, Douluo Yan. This was something Douluo could not tolerate. Originally, he hadn't intended to intervene in the battle between Lu Chen and Tang Hao, but faced with this situation, he had no choice but to step forward. Douluo instantly completed his martial soul possession. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black, 9 spirit rings rose from beneath his feet, causing his aura to instantly climb to its peak. As long as Tang Hao's giant hammer smashed down, Douluo would step forward to block it with all his might. He would never let his granddaughter face any danger. Hearing Douluo's insults, Tang Hao's face darkened instantly. He looked at Douluo with an unfriendly expression. If looks could kill, Douluo would surely have been torn into 1,000 pieces by Tang Hao. He adjusted the angle of the clear sky hammer. It was originally aimed at the longevity sect, but because Douluo's cursing was so vicious, Tang Hao wished he could kill Douluo immediately. So he smashed that 100-meter blood-red clear sky hammer toward Douluo's position. Even though Douluo was a rank 96 titled Douluo, facing this terrifying strike from Tang Hao, who had unleashed his martial soul avatar and his 100,000-year ninth spirit ring, he still felt a chill down his spine and a sense of horror in his heart. However, at that moment, though he said nothing, Lu Chen, who had long been prepared, flew over like lightning. He appeared in the path of the blood-red clear sky hammer, shielding Douluo behind him. The light of the blood-red clear sky hammer shone on Lu Chen's face, but his expression showed no trace of panic or fear. He remained composed from beginning to end. Third spirit ability, space slash. As Lu Chen's third spirit ring shone, he swung his black iron sickle and sliced open a spatial rift right in front of him. This time was different from before. Under the continuous infusion of Lu Chen's spirit power, a 100-meter-long spatial rift was actually torn open in the sky. Inside the spatial rift was a deep black void. The 100-meter blood-red clear sky hammer that came crashing down slammed squarely into the spatial rift without causing any ripples. That blood-red clear sky hammer, with power enough to destroy mountains, was silently swallowed by the spatial rift just like that. Space slash, this spirit ability can tear through space, allowing one to travel through it. Under Lu Chen's development, it could also be used to redirect an enemy's attacks. Theoretically speaking, as long as an attack was below the divine rank, it could not possibly cause any damage to space. Therefore, the spatial rift of space slash could redirect any attack below the divine rank. After swallowing the 100-meter blood-red clear sky hammer, the spatial rift gradually healed without leaving a trace. The sky returned to clarity, as if nothing had happened. This is impossible. Tang Hao screamed out. Without using the great Sumeru hammer, this was already the strongest attack he could produce. Back at the Spirit Hall, Bibaidong had to bring 7 titled Douluo to barely block this strike. Now Lu Chen had neutralized the power of this strike without any effort at all. Tang Hao's mental state was severely shaken. He stared blankly at Lu Chen's position, his face filled with an expression of disbelief. While Tang Hao was in a daze, Lu Chen raised his black iron sickle once more. Third spirit ability, space rending slash. Continuous spirit power was poured into the black iron sickle, causing it to erupt with saber kai powerful enough to tear through the void realm. Slash. Lu Chen swung the black iron sickle and slashed forward violently. In an instant, a crescent-shaped pitch-black light blade erupted from the scythe blade, cutting toward Tang Hao's position. By the time Tang Hao snapped out of it and saw the pitch-black light blade enlarging in his eyes, it was too late to dodge. He was a pure power type titled Douluo. Speed was not his forte. In his haste, Tang Hao used another spirit bone skill. Iron Wall. A grayish-black shield quickly condensed in front of Tang Hao. It looked like the shell of some kind of spirit beast, giving off a heavy, mountain-like, and indestructible feeling. Tang Hao thought that with this shield, he should be able to block Lu Chen's attack. The result left him utterly shocked. That crescent-shaped pitch-black light blade seemed like an attack from another dimension, passing directly through the grayish-black shield. Before Tang Hao could react, the pitch-black light blade slashed into his chest. With a crack and the sound of flesh tearing, the skin, muscle, and ribs on Tang Hao's chest were sliced open with a gash large enough to cut him in two. Blood gushed out from the massive gash like a fountain. Through that bloody opening, one could even see a beating, bright red heart. Tang Hao was nearly split in two. Thanks to his powerful body, having 6 spirit bones and being tempered by 100,000-year spirit ring, he possessed extremely vigorous vitality, allowing him to barely survive. But this wound that nearly tore him apart, along with the saber kai wreaking havoc inside his body, made Tang Hao lose the confidence to continue the fight. Tang Hao cast one last look at Lu Chen with a hint of fear. What he regretted most now was stealing Lu Chen's spot as a work-study student. An insignificant work-study student slot had actually provoked such a powerful enemy for him. Now, it was no longer about whether he could take back Yin, but whether he could escape from here alive. Tang Hao spat out a mouthful of blood. Clutching the bleeding gash on his chest, he turned and fled without hesitation. He couldn't die here yet. He had to leave alive. Only by leaving alive would he have a chance to take back Yin, and a chance to exact revenge on the Spirit Hall. He couldn't die. With this thought in mind, Tang Hao fled forward like a madman. Seeing Tang Hao flee on his own initiative, Lu Chen didn't want to let him off so easily. He looked back at Douluo Dalu. "Big brother Douluo, I'll leave the sect to you. I'm going to hunt down Tang Hao. Today, no matter what, I can't let him leave alive." With those words, Lu Chen carried his black iron sickle and chased after Tang Hao. Tang Hao ran very fast, but Lu Chen's speed was not slow either. However, a certain distance was always maintained between the two of them. Tang Hao desperately tried to run. To that end, he sequentially shattered his first, second, third, and fourth spirit rings. The spirit power released after shattering the 2 yellow and 2 purple spirit rings was entirely used by Tang Hao to increase his speed. Yet he still couldn't shake off the determined Lu Chen. Forced, Tang Hao shattered 2 more spirit rings, the 5th and 6th, both of which were 10,000-year spirit rings. The spirit power erupted from shattering these 10,000-year spirit rings, allowed Tang Hao to flee for over 1,000 miles. But this was also approaching Tang Hao's limit. His face was deathly pale, and his body was on the verge of collapse. Cough, cough. Tang Hao kept coughing up blood, his eyes full of anxiety. Almost there, almost there. As long as I reach that place, I'll be able to catch my breath. A moment later, Tang Hao reached the Great Western Wilderness and rushed into a tavern in a panic. Chapter 184, The Appearance of the Slaughter King. In this desolate place with no villages or shops nearby, the appearance of a small tavern was inherently suspicious. Tang Hao descended from the sky, smashing a hole through the tavern's roof and plunging inside, quickly disappearing from sight. After a few breaths, Lu Chen followed Tang Hao to the tavern. He hovered in the sky, not entering the tavern rashly. He released his mental force, which flowed like water, scanning the inside and outside of the tavern. The situation within was instantly fed back into Lu Chen's mind. The floor was covered with corpses, their expressions filled with terror and their eyes wide open, as if they had seen the most horrific thing in the world. They had essentially been scared to death. Tables and chairs were overturned everywhere. Behind the counter, a large hole had been smashed into the floor, deep and dark, leading to an unknown destination. Having assessed the situation, Lu Chen descended through the hole in the roof into the tavern. He let out a long breath. If nothing unexpected happened, this must be the Slaughter City. Tang Hao showed some cleverness in his flight, knowing that no matter where he hid, he couldn't escape my pursuit. So he simply hid in the Slaughter City. Tang Hao possesses the Slaughter God domain and can freely use spirit abilities within the Slaughter City. I don't have the Slaughter God domain. Once I enter the Slaughter City and my spirit ring skills are unexpectedly restricted, I might actually end up failing in an easy task. That scoundrel, if I really let him escape, it would be a great pity. Given his current physical state, having taken 2 of my slashes to his abdomen and chest, and having successively exploded 6 spirit rings, he is at his wit's end. Should I pursue him into the Slaughter City? That hellish place is easy to enter but hard to leave. It's the site where the Asura god and Rakshasa god attained divinity. Once I enter, I'll be completely cut off from the outside world. Just as Lu Chen was hesitating, inside the world of the Slaughter City, Tang Hao entered the blood-colored wasteland and could finally breathe a sigh of relief. His body staggered, and he almost fell to the ground. The two massive lacerations on his abdomen and chest were still constantly seeping blood. The backlash from exploding 6 spirit rings caused his brain to throb with waves of dizziness. If he didn't know he wasn't completely out of danger, Tang Hao would have wanted to collapse into sleep regardless of everything. Tang Hao's sudden arrival certainly couldn't be hidden from the master of the Slaughter City, the Slaughter King. The Slaughter King was the product of the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King's parasite on Tang Chen. Tang Chen had already completed 7 trials of the Asura god's examination. To some extent, he truly counted as the master of the Slaughter City. At this moment, deep within the blood-colored castle, the Slaughter King reclined against soft cushions. His left arm was around a scantily clad voluptuous woman, while his right hand held a crystal glass filled with a steaming, bright red liquid. This was the specialty of the Slaughter City, Bloody Mary, commonly known as human blood. But suddenly, the Slaughter King's expression shifted. He shoved the woman aside and drained the Bloody Mary in his crystal glass in one gulp. With blood-red lips and traces of blood still lingering, the Slaughter King's blood-colored pupils revealed a hint of ruthlessness. It's the aura of the Slaughter God domain. A Slaughter God has returned to the Slaughter City. Since you've come to my Slaughter City, how could I not go and say hello? As the words fell, the Slaughter King's blood-red hair fluttered, his figure flashed, and he left the blood-colored castle. In just a few minutes, the tall Slaughter King, draped in a blood-colored cape and looking like a humanoid bat, descended upon the blood-colored wasteland outside the castle. He looked at Tang Hao, who was sitting on the ground gasping for breath, and a hint of shock and killing intent emerged in his blood-colored pupils. The Slaughter King knew of Tang Hao's strength. He had always wanted to kill Tang Hao, but unfortunately, he had never found the opportunity. Seeing Tang Hao in such a wretched state, with his aura greatly diminished, wasn't this a perfect opportunity to kill him? According to the rules of the Slaughter City, every Slaughter God who leaves causes a massive loss to the city. Furthermore, Slaughter Gods possess the Slaughter God domain and can use spirit abilities freely within the Slaughter City, posing a major threat to the Slaughter King. Therefore, Tang Hao and Bibai Dong, who both possess the Slaughter God domain, were targets the Slaughter King wanted to eliminate. If given the chance, he was 100% willing to kill them both. The Slaughter King descended from the sky and walked toward Tang Hao step by step. His muscles were tense, secretly gathering strength as he spoke in a sinister, testing tone. Jai Jai Jai, Your Excellency Slaughter God has graced us with your presence. You didn't even send word in advance, so I could have my subordinates prepare a grand reception for you. However, Your Excellency's current state isn't very good. I wonder who could have injured you to this extent. To dare touch a Slaughter God of our Slaughter City is a provocation to the city itself. I will certainly avenge you. As he spoke, the Slaughter King drew closer and closer to Tang Hao. His killing intent was no longer concealed, making Tang Hao's expression incredibly grim. Tang Hao stood up unsteadily, with Lu Chen pursuing from behind and the Slaughter King showing ill intent in front. Tang Hao was now completely backed into a corner. He activated his brain, which had been soaked in alcohol for over a decade, and tried hard to think of a way to find a path to survival in this situation. Tang Hao's expression was arrogant. He didn't dare show the slightest weakness, activating his Slaughter God domain and constantly heightening his aura. Slaughter King, get the hell away from me. Even if I've run into a bit of trouble, crushing you to death would only take a minute. While appearing unyielding on the outside, he was quite panicked internally. Damn it, why hasn't Lu Chen pursued me down here? Does he know the special rules of the Slaughter City, that once you enter here, you can't use any spirit abilities? If Lu Chen had followed me down, I could have found a way to pit him against the Slaughter King, giving me a chance to escape. Now that Lu Chen hasn't come, with my current state, I'm simply not the Slaughter King's match. No, I must leave this place. Perhaps I can use the Slaughter King to deal with Lu Chen outside. As long as they start fighting, I can take the opportunity to flee. Driving the tiger to swallow the wolf. This was the only path to survival Tang Hao could think of. Having been cursed at by Tang Hao, the Slaughter King's face darkened completely. He opened his right hand slightly, turning it into a ghostly claw, and with a rustling sound, a pair of 3-meter-wide bat wings unfurled behind him. Tang Hao, I gave you face, but you refused it. Do you really think that in your current state, you are still my match? I originally wanted to host you properly, but since you are so ungrateful, I'll use your heart as a snack to go with my drinks." As the words fell, the Slaughter King's bat wings vibrated, and he turned into a blood-colored afterimage, sweeping toward Tang Hao. His speed was incredibly fast, making Tang Hao's heart leap with fear. In his haste, Tang Hao summoned the clear sky hammer once more, and smashed it toward the blood-colored afterimage. Boom! Accompanied by a dull explosion, Tang Hao's body was sent flying backward. He coughed up blood repeatedly, and the gashes on his abdomen and chest were gory, with internal organs exposed. Although the Slaughter King was also shaken back a few steps, he suffered no injuries. His expression was full of wild joy. Jai, Tang Hao, you really are at your wits' end. Today, the Slaughter City is destined to have one less slaughter god. Tang Hao, who was flying backward, gritted his teeth, turned around, and flew back toward the outside along the path he had come. Seeing this, the Slaughter King immediately gave chase. Tang Hao, don't even think about running. Chapter 185, Fierce Battle with the Nine-Headed Bloody Crimson Bat King. Outside in the tavern, Tang Hao rushed out desperately, and right behind him was the Slaughter King in hot pursuit. Tang Hao suddenly let out a massive roar. "Prepare to strike." This single sentence caused the pursuing Slaughter King's expression to change drastically. He thought Tang Hao was leading him into an ambush. In an instant, the Slaughter King activated his slaughter domain. A blinding flash of blood-red light erupted from the Slaughter King's body, carrying a thick scent of blood as it enveloped everything in all directions. The Slaughter Domain possessed the same magic sealing ability as Slaughter City. Within the Slaughter Domain, no spirit ring skills could be used. This made things very uncomfortable for Chen. He was still waiting inside the tavern, initially hesitating over whether to enter Slaughter City. When he saw Tang Hao take the initiative to come out, he was overjoyed. He raised his black iron sickle, preparing to unleash the dark golden bear king slash. Coincidentally, the Slaughter King activated his slaughter domain at that exact moment. The blinding bloodlight enveloped Chen, instantly turning his 3 spirit rings, 2 black and 1 red, entirely grey. The dark golden bear king slash he had been preparing to use could no longer be unleashed. This infuriated Chen to no end. Furthermore, the evil aura within the slaughter domain was eroding Chen's body, causing his skin to feel a slight burning sensation. However, his blue-silver Emperor martial soul possessed the ultimate life attribute, giving his physique a recovery ability nearly equivalent to an undying body. While the slaughter domain sealed his spirit ring skills, it could not directly inflict damage upon him. Tang Hao, who had rushed out of Slaughter City, saw that the Slaughter King's slaughter domain had successfully sealed Chen's spirit ring skills, depriving him of his most effective means of attack. This finally gave Tang Hao a glimmer of hope for escape. Without a moment's hesitation, he immediately detonated his 7th spirit ring and 8th spirit ring. The 50,000-year 7th spirit ring and the 70,000-year 8th spirit ring, the majestic spirit power that surged forth after the 2 rings, exploded flooded into Tang Hao's body, instantly stretching his physical form to the point of near collapse. He vomited blood repeatedly. From the wound at his waist and abdomen, his large and small intestines began to gush out. From the wound in his chest, his thumping heart and lungs, while spraying blood, were on the verge of jumping out of his body. It was Tang Hao who grabbed his intestines with one hand and stuffed them back into his belly, while using the other hand to press his heart and lungs back into his chest cavity. This majestic spirit power, which had pushed Tang Hao's body to the brink of collapse, also boosted his speed to the extreme. Like a flaming meteor, he rapidly streaked toward the distant horizon. During the flight, Tang Hao's consciousness was actually somewhat blurred. Driven by an instinctive desire for survival, he continuously erupted with spirit power within his body, charging forward blindly. But with his body in such a collapsed state, even if he escaped this time, he would likely be reduced to a cripple. Whether even 50% of his strength would remain was still an unknown. Seeing Tang Hao flee, how could Chen let him have his way? He leaped into the air and hurriedly gave chase. However, the brainless Slaughter King thought Chen was Tang Hao's accomplice. The bat wings on his back flapped violently, turning him into a blood-colored afterimage as he launched an attack toward Chen. Jai, none of you shall escape today. The Slaughter King didn't have much of a brain, but his speed was truly not slow. He actually managed to overtake Lu Chen from behind, catching up in the blink of an eye. Lu Chen felt a chill coming from behind. His spirit ring skills were sealed, but fortunately he still had a spirit bone skill he could use. Void form. Spatial ripples quickly radiated around his body, taking Lu Chen's form into a void space. The attacking Slaughter King passed directly through his body. After passing through Lu Chen's body, the Slaughter King decelerated and came to a halt in midair. He turned back to look at Lu Chen, then at his own claws, and roared in disbelief. What strange ability is this? My attack didn't even touch your body. Lu Chen ignored the Slaughter King and instead looked in the direction Tang Hao had fled. Seeing that Tang Hao had already run far away, his face couldn't help but show irritation. Damn fellow, you've ruined my grand plans. Since you let Tang Hao go, I'll have you pay with your life. At this point, Lu Chen paused and looked at the Slaughter King with a peculiar expression. You are the Slaughter King of Slaughter City. As the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King, you should also count as a spirit beast, right? And at least 100,000-year spirit beast at that. A blessing in disguise. Although Tang Hao escaped today, your 100,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone can compensate for my loss. Hearing Lu Chen say this, the Slaughter King's pupils constricted. He didn't understand why this human before him could see through his true identity with a single word. Even Tang Hao and Bibai Dong, the two death gods of Slaughter City, did not know that the Slaughter King was actually the product of the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King parasitizing Tang Chen. Having his true face exposed, the Slaughter King did not fly into a rage. Instead, his eyes were frighteningly cold, and his voice was raspy as he spoke with infinite killing intent. How did you know? But it no longer matters. Now that you know this king's true identity, I absolutely cannot let you leave today. Roar! The Slaughter King let out a massive roar. A blinding crimson bloodlight dyed the entire sky blood red, turning the area around the tavern into a slaughter hell. Rip, rip! Accompanied by the sound of tearing cloth, the Slaughter King's high-collared cloak instantly shredded into pieces. His body expanded rapidly, and in just a few breaths, he transformed into a colossal creature. It was a crimson bat, 8 meters long with a wingspan of 15 meters. On the bat's shoulders, there were a total of 9 hideous heads, a sight that would make anyone shudder. The Slaughter King, or perhaps he should be called the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King, having had his true identity exposed by Lu Chen, no longer hid it and directly revealed his true form. In his true form, the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King's strength would climb to an extreme, much like a human spirit master, unleashing their martial soul avatar. Die for this king! The 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King flapped its wings, whipping up a blood-colored storm as it pounced toward Lu Chen's position. But Lu Chen's true body was in the void space. The 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King's several attacks all passed through Lu Chen's body without causing any damage. Lu Chen let out a long breath at this. Although the void form ability can keep me safe from mortal danger, it can't kill the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King. Once it escapes back to Slaughter City, things will become troublesome instead. For the sake of 100,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone, it seems I'll have to fight properly today. Even if I can't use spirit ring skills, with my powerful body that surpasses 100,000-year spirit beast, I don't believe I can't deal with this 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King. With this thought, Lu Chen proactively exited the void form state. His true body returned to the real world. The overwhelming blood-red light began to burn his skin, attempting to erode his body. But he had the powerful self-healing ability granted by the ultimate life attribute. This corrosive, poisonous blood-red light could not cause him any effective damage. The 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King pounced again, the thick scent of blood already slapping against his face. Lu Chen's eyes were resolute. He gripped the black iron sickle, and instead of retreating, he advanced to actively engage the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King. Crack, crack! After being strengthened by 3 spirit rings, the black iron sickle's toughness and sharpness were already comparable to the top-tier divine weapons. Combined with Lu Chen's terrifying brute force that surpassed 100,000-year spirit beast, he instantly left 2 long, narrow gashes on the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King, blood gushing out like a fountain. Injured, the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King's 9 heads screamed in unison, and the sound waves seemed to contain magic. It made anyone who heard it feel dizzy and lightheaded. As a spirit beast capable of parasitizing Tang Chen, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's mental strength was quite formidable. In terms of attributes, it should have a mental plus evil attribute. Under the assault of that demonic sound, Lu Chen also felt a wave of dizziness. To counter this, he bit the tip of his tongue hard. Using the intense pain to stimulate his spirit, he focused his mental force to the highest degree, condensing it into a single entity. Like a reef on a beach, no matter how the waves crashed, he remained immovable. Kill! Lu Chen also exerted his full strength. His blood and kai were nearly boiling, making him seem like a burning furnace. A continuous stream of power surged into his limbs and bones, making him akin to a humanoid spirit beast. Stepping on empty air, he created a sonic boom. Lu Chen's figure was like an arrow released from a bow as he flashed toward the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. Swinging the black iron sickle, a cold glint tore through the air, severing one of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's heads. Ayo! The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's other 8 heads immediately let out a howl of agony. Chapter 186 Tang Chen's End. How dare you cut off one of my heads? This king wants you dead. Arg. The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king was consumed by rage. Its claws overlapped as spirit power surged within its body, releasing a blinding crimson light from its claws. Kill! The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king swung its claws, unleashing hundreds of claw-shaped blood blades in succession. The blood blades danced, covering the sky and earth, attacking from all directions to completely block all of Lu Chen's escape routes. Seeing this, Lu Chen did not panic at all. A creature that never learns. As his voice fell, Lu Chen once again used his void ability, hiding his true body within the void space. The hundreds of incoming claw-shaped blood blades passed straight through his body without causing him any harm. After dodging this wave of blood blade attacks, Lu Chen's true body returned to the world. He closed in again, swinging his black iron sickle. With a flash of cold light, he hacked off another of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's heads. The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king let out a shrill howl. Blood continuously sprayed from the spots where its 2 heads had been cut off. Damn it, damn it, damn it. What kind of ability do you have, you bastard? Why do my attacks have no effect on you? Lu Chen naturally wouldn't answer the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. He looked at his opponent, his eyes filled only with desire for 100,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone. Relying on the power of his void ability, Lu Chen played with the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king in the palm of his hand. Whenever the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king attacked, Lu Chen would hide in the void space. Once the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's attack missed, Lu Chen would emerge from the void space and take the opportunity to launch an attack, cutting off another head. He repeated this several times. Of the 9 heads on the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's shoulders, 8 were hacked off by Lu Chen. With only 1 head remaining, fear finally grew in the heart of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. You despicable little thief, if you have the guts, follow this king back to Slaughter City. As soon as it spoke, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king whipped up a crimson storm and flew toward the entrance of Slaughter City. Lu Chen's gaze narrowed. He naturally couldn't let the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king escape like that. He shifted the black iron sickle to his left hand and raised his right, summoning the dark golden Terraclaw external spirit bone. Dark gold Terraclaw spirit ability mode. The slaughter domain could restrict spirit ring skills, but it could not restrict spirit bone skills. The dark gold Terraclaw possessed the ultimate metal attribute. As one of the top sharp weapons in the world, it possessed ultimate destructive attack power. As Lu Chen swung the dark gold Terraclaw violently, a massive dark golden claw print tore through the air, letting out a series of shrill whistles as it blasted toward the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. In the blink of an eye, it struck the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's body with a loud bang. Fierce winds howled and airwaves surged. The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's body was torn open, half a bat wing was ripped off, and blood splattered across the sky. It screamed as it plummeted toward the ground. You were actually hiding an offensive spirit ability. Because Lu Chen had only used his void skill to dodge attacks previously, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king never imagined that Lu Chen had other offensive skills. Lu Chen had hidden the dark gold terraclaw until now, and it achieved success in one blow. At the moment the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king was about to escape back to Slaughter City, he heavily injured it in one go, tearing its body and ripping off one of its bat wings. He had completely cut off the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's path of escape. With a boom, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king crashed to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust and smashing a large crater into the earth. Before the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king could stand up again, Lu Chen dropped like a meteor and kicked the opponent in the chest. Crack, crack. With the sound of shattering bones, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's entire chest cavity was crushed inward by Lu Chen's stomp. Lu Chen possessed terrifying brute strength, exceeding that of a 100,000-year spirit beast. This single kick directly took half of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's life. The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's sole remaining head coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, its eyes showing signs of fadding. Lu Chen raised his black iron sickle and swung it without hesitation. A flash of cold light passed, and the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's last head was cut off, rolling into the distance like a ball. The nine-headed bloody crimson bat king had fallen. As a 100,000-year spirit beast, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's actual combat ability wasn't particularly outstanding. At most, it was comparable to a rank 95 titled Douluo. Its strength lay in its bizarre parasite ability. Even a super Douluo with rank 99 spirit power like Tang Chen could be parasitized if he had a heart demon. After parasitizing Tang Chen, it gained some of Tang Chen's abilities, such as the Slaughter Domain. The Slaughter Domain could seal spirit ring skills, allowing the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king to remain invincible against any enemy. Unfortunately, it met Lu Chen. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. Lu Chen's physique was powerful, even exceeding a 100,000-year spirit beast. He also had the void ability of the void mantis skull, and the sharp weapon that was the dark gold terraclaw external spirit bone. This information asymmetry led to the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king finally dying at Lu Chen's hands. After killing the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king, Lu Chen looked at its corpse with anticipation, hoping to see a 100,000-year spirit ring appear. However, the result was different from what he expected. A brilliant crimson light erupted from the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's body, emitting surging spirit power fluctuations that even made Lu Chen feel a bit of trepidation. In the next instant, the crimson light grew even brighter, and even Lu Chen was blown back. After landing far away, Lu Chen frowned as he looked at that mass of crimson light. What's going on? Could it be that the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king isn't dead yet, or Tang Chen? Lu Chen's pupils constricted slightly. Could it be that he killed the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king, but Tang Chen didn't die along with it? Just as Lu Chen predicted, a tall figure condensed within that crimson light. The figure had handsome features, black hair draped over his shoulders, and a majestic build, giving off an air of natural authority. As he opened his eyes, a vast spirit power pressure, like a mountain standing at the peak of spirit masters, diffused from his body. This spirit power pressure caused Lu Chen's expression to change drastically. His heart beat faster and faster, and his shoulders felt as if a great mountain were pressing down on them, giving him a sense of wanting to bow in submission. Get up for me. Lu Chen had his own pride. How could he bow to another? He clenched his teeth, and even though his bones creaked, he did not bend in the slightest. Gritting his teeth to stand straight, Lu Chen looked at Tang Chen with an unfriendly expression. This old guy actually didn't die. However, Tang Chen's impressive display didn't last more than 3 seconds. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood, his face instantly turning deathly pale. His lips quivered a few times, eventually releasing a long sigh. Tang Chen looked at Lu Chen with complexity in his eyes. On one hand, it was Lu Chen killing the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king that allowed Tang Chen to be freed. On the other hand, killing the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king was the 8th trial of Tang Chen's Asura 9 trials. Since the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king died at Lu Chen's hands, it meant Tang Chen's 8th trial had failed. The penalty for failure was obliteration. In the original plot, Tang Chen was able to pass the 8th trial of the Asura 9 trials by relying on Tang San's sea god's light. which purified the Rakshasa god's malice and awakened Tang Chen's consciousness. Tang Chen used the power of the sea god's light to kill his heart demon and the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. The current situation was completely different from the original plot. In the original plot, although Tang Chen relied on the external force of the sea god's light, he was indeed the one who killed the heart demon and the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king himself. But this time, when Lu Chen killed the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king, Tang Chen never woke up from start to finish. He remained sunken under the control of the heart demon. It was this difference that made it impossible for Tang Chen's 8th trial of the Asura 9 trials to ever be completed. Tang Chen could already feel the Asura divine force obliterating his body. However, because he had completed the first 7 of the Asura 9 trials, he had a very high Asura affinity. Relying on this Asura affinity, he was able to briefly resist the obliteration of the Asura divine force. Tang Chen took a deep look at Lu Chen. "Young man, you helped me find release. Logically, I should thank you properly. But I have nothing left now, nothing I can leave to you. This nine-headed bloody crimson bat king was parasitized within me for decades, devouring a massive amount of my spirit power, causing its cultivation to rise again and again. Although the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king couldn't truly control my power, in terms of cultivation, it was comparable to a 300,000-year spirit beast. I hope it brings you a good harvest." After his voice fell, Tang Chen coughed violently twice. His figure instantly soared into the sky, heading west as a streak of bloody light, flying towards Sea God Island. Faster, even faster. Tang Chen was extremely anxious. Under the obliteration of the Asura divine force, his legs had already disappeared, dissipating into specks of blood-colored light. After the legs came the hands. After the hands came the torso. After the torso came the head. When he was less than 10 kilometers from Sea God Island, even Tang Chen's last remaining head slowly began to dissipate into specks of blood light. He was unwilling. He hadn't even seen High Priestess Bo Saixi one last time before death. Tang Chen let out a furious roar toward the sky. "Bo Saixi." Before his voice could fade, Tang Chen's body and even Tang Chen's soul were completely turned into nothingness under the obliteration of the Asura divine force. Only a 2-meter-long Asura demon sword remained. It trembled in midair before dissipating into the atmosphere. A moment later, far away on Sea God Island, the sea god Douluo High Priestess Bo Saixi seemed to sense something. Moving as fast as a meteor, she rapidly flew over. When the sea god Douluo High Priestess Bo Saixi, dressed in long blue robes, tall and exquisitely beautiful, arrived at the place where Tang Chen had finally dissipated. She reached out her jade-like hand to grab the air. Suddenly, as if struck by lightning, her beautiful face instantly aged 10 years. Tang Chen. After waiting for decades, she never expected this would be the result. Tang Chen was dead. She hadn't even seen him one last time. Chapter 187, 300,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone. Back to Lu Chen's side. Watching Tang Chen transform into a blood-colored shadow and vanish into the horizon, he couldn't help but curse. How bizarre. I was the one who killed the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. Its spirit ring and spirit bone were originally my spoils of war. This Tang Chen is shameless enough to act as if he left the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king for me. Meanwhile, as Tang Chen departed, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king released its blood-red light once more. The soaring crimson light condensed into a pillar of blood, emitting a spirit power pressure so intense that the air itself seemed to solidify. Seeing this, Lu Chen showed a look of surprise and joy. This was the true sign of a spirit ring condensing. After about 5 minutes, the soaring blood-colored pillar collapsed inward, compressing continuously until it finally condensed into a red spirit ring. On that red spirit ring, 3 golden patterns could be seen, mysterious, magnificent, and majestic. Lu Chen was beyond thrilled. This nine-headed bloody crimson bat king has actually reached a cultivation level of 300,000 years. Fortunately, its cultivation was obtained by devouring Tang Chen's spirit power, so it couldn't utilize it freely and could only use a slaughtered domain. Otherwise, a vicious beast with a 300,000-year cultivation would be enough to rival a level 97 Super Douluo. Killing it would definitely not have been this easy. With my physical constitution, absorbing a vicious beast spirit ring is more than enough. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much of a boost this 300,000-year spirit ring and spirit bone can bring me. As his voice fell, Lu Chen stepped forward, grabbed the corpse of the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king, and took both the body and the spirit ring upon it into his portable space. While absorbing a spirit ring, Lu Chen would have no ability to resist. Staying outside was too dangerous, so he simply entered the portable space. This was a hazy grey world, infinitely vast in all directions as if without boundaries. Massive piles of gold coins formed mountains, alongside heaps of jade, agate, coral and gemstones. This was all the wealth he had plundered from the 7 treasure glazed tile school. After entering the portable space, Lu Chen sat cross-legged and summoned the 300,000-year vicious beast spirit ring. The ring with 3 golden patterns immediately floated toward Lu Chen, encircling his body before rapidly shrinking and merging into him. In an instant, a cold, domineering, and evil spirit power swept through Lu Chen's body. In just a few breaths, that majestic spirit power filled his meridians, making his entire body feel a needle-like, stinging pain. This made Lu Chen frown as he thought to himself, "For a 300,000-year vicious beast spirit ring, I will endure." In truth, Lu Chen felt all right. This spirit ring from the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king had not pushed his body to the brink of exploding. It was just that the cold and evil spirit power caused a certain level of erosion as it merged with his body, which was why Lu Chen felt the needle-like pain. Lu Chen focused his mind and silently operated his meditation method, accelerating the absorption and refinement of this cold, evil spirit power to temper his second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle. Under the tempering of this cold and evil spirit power, the Black Iron Sickle trembled slightly and let out a dull, long cry, as if it were enduring immense pain. After all, this was a vicious beast-level spirit ring. The vast energy contained within it was extremely difficult to absorb. Lu Chen's brow was tightly furrowed, and the Black Iron Sickle trembled slightly. Both were enduring pain, but both were also making immense progress under the tempering of the spirit ring's energy. Time passed slowly, and after 12 hours of absorption and refinement. Inside the portable space, Lu Chen opened his eyes and woke up. A flash of crimson light passed through his originally deep blue eyes. That cold and evil pressure was enough to make anyone shudder. Fortunately, it only lasted for 3 breaths before the crimson light completely receded, restoring his clear blue eyes. "It's you." Lu Chen let out a long breath, stood up from the ground, and stretched. A series of explosive pops sounded from his bones. Under the energy tempering of the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king's spirit ring, his body had undergone another round of strengthening. If he kept strengthening like this, his body would reach the divine rank sooner or later. How refreshing! Although absorbing the spirit ring was painful, the feeling of satisfaction after a successful absorption is indescribable. My spirit power has increased tremendously, from level 95 to the level 96 peak. I'll absorb the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king's spirit bone in a moment. It will definitely allow my spirit power to make another breakthrough. Breaking through to level 97 won't be an issue at all. The harvest this time is truly significant. Not only has my martial soul evolved again, but I've also gained 2 powerful spirit abilities. The 4th spirit ring's first spirit ability is Extinction Cross/, a single target attack ability. The 4th spirit ring's second spirit ability is Blood Shadow 100 Breaker Strike, a group attack ability. Both spirit abilities carry the evil attribute of the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king. Once they strike an enemy, the wounds caused cannot be healed. Not only will the wounds fail to heal, but they will also continue to expand over time until the opponent is completely dead, similar to Bibaidong's Eternal Wound. Now my offensive capabilities have received an epic enhancement. It truly lives up to being a 300,000-year vicious beast spirit ring. Time to dig out the spirit bone and see what abilities it can bring me. With those words, Lu Chen raised his hand to summon the Black Iron Sickle. As black light emerged from his palm, the revolved Black Iron Sickle condensed. The current Black Iron Sickle had a handle reaching a staggering 2.4 meters and a blade length of 1.8 meters. The design was extremely exaggerated, with intricate crimson demonic patterns that would make anyone shiver at a glance. Lu Chen swung the revolved Black Iron Sickle, tearing through the corpse of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king as easily as cutting tofu. He soon found a left arm bone emitting a crimson glow. Spirit beasts over 100,000 years old will 100% drop a spirit ring and 100% drop a spirit bone, and this spirit bone will be one that you do not already possess. This nine-headed bloody crimson bat king had dual attributes of mental and evil. If nothing unexpected happened, it should have dropped a skull bone. However, since Chen already had a skull bone, the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king's spirit bone evolved into a left arm bone. But no matter which part the spirit bone was for, Chen didn't mind in the slightest. He retracted his spirit, picked up the left arm bone, sat cross-legged on the ground, and pressed the bone against his left arm. A 300,000-year left arm bone definitely won't be bad. I'm really looking forward to what two spirit abilities it will bring me. With a thought, a surge of spirit power flowed out and merged into the left arm bone. The bone immediately burst with blood-red light, transforming into wisps of crimson mist that merged into Chen's left arm. Cold, domineering, and evil, it felt exactly the same as absorbing the spirit ring. Since even absorbing the spirit ring hadn't brought Chen any danger, absorbing the spirit bone wouldn't bring him danger either. However, it took quite a while. After another 12 hours of absorption, Chen finally succeeded in absorbing this nine-headed bloody crimson bat king left arm bone. Just as Chen expected, his spirit power had another major breakthrough, rising from the level 96 peak to the level 97 peak. This made Chen overjoyed. In addition to the spirit power increase, Chen also gained two bizarre spirit abilities. These two spirit abilities are a bit evil, but if used well, they can definitely have miraculous effects. The left arm bone's first spirit ability, Blood Puppet, can refine a corpse, provided it has been dead for no more than a day, and its blood hasn't completely solidified, into a blood puppet under my control. Blood puppets have no sensation. As long as they aren't completely destroyed, they can keep fighting. However, because they are corpses, their combat power can at most recover to 70% of when they were alive. The left arm bone's second spirit ability, Blood Explosion Technique, can be used in tandem with Blood Puppet. Once a blood puppet gets close to an enemy, it can be directly detonated to unleash power beyond its limits. Interesting, if I kill the evil spirit Orca King, refine it into a blood puppet, and control it to get close to the deep sea demon Whale King before detonating it. The power of the evil spirit Orca King's explosion, even if the deep sea demon Whale King is a million-year spirit beast, shouldn't be something it can completely ignore. Even if it just causes a small injury, it can still reduce its strength. Chen's eyes grew brighter and brighter. This nine-headed bloody crimson bat king truly lived up to being a 300,000-year spirit beast. The four spirit abilities it gave him were all quite abnormal. The wounds caused by Extinction Cross/, and Blood Shadow 100 Breaker Strike cannot heal, leaving the victim only to await death. Blood Puppet and Blood Explosion Technique allow corpses to be reused. If used well, they can produce unexpected results. Chapter 188, The First Blood Puppet. Outside, as ripples undulated through the air, Chen and a bloody corpse stepped out from the spatial ripples. At this moment, Chen suddenly looked at the corpse of the nine-headed bloody crimson bat king. Because its cultivation was profound, the blood had not yet completely solidified, and a thought couldn't help but cross his mind. The requirement to use Blood Puppet is a corpse that has been dead for less than a day, and whose blood has not yet completely solidified. This nine-headed bloody crimson bat king has only been dead for a day, and its blood hasn't completely solidified yet. It should be usable for the Blood Puppet technique. This is the corpse of a 300,000-year-old vicious beast. Even though it's lost its spirit ring and spirit bone, and has become an empty shell, it's still infinitely close to a 100,000-year-old spirit beast. I can give it a try. If it succeeds, not only can it assist in battle, but it can also be used as consumable material for the blood explosion technique. Thinking of this, Chen raised his left hand, circulating spirit power into the spirit bone, and unleashed the spirit bone skill, Blood Puppet. In an instant, surging blood-colored light gushed from his palm, spinning rapidly and condensing into a blood-colored orb the size of a human head. Eerie, cold, and evil. The energy fluctuations emitted by this blood-colored orb felt bone-chilling, enough to freeze a person's blood. Under Lu Chen's control, wisps of blood-colored light drifted from the orb like petals dancing in the sky, merging into the corpse of the nine-headed bloody crimson Bat King. In the next instant, something eerie happened. The corpse, which originally had no breath of life left, actually moved again. First the claws, then the arms, and finally the entire body stood straight up. The scene was incredibly horrifying. A headless corpse with its body split open actually stood up again, emitting an aura no weaker than when it was alive. The nine-headed bloody crimson Bat King was indeed dead. The reason its corpse was moving now was entirely because Lu Chen was controlling the blood within it. Lu Chen felt a strange sensation, as if he had gained an incarnation. With just a thought, he could control the nine-headed bloody crimson Bat King to fight. However, without its spirit ring and spirit bone, what remained of the nine-headed bloody crimson Bat King's corpse didn't have much combat power. At most, it could fight against an 80 or 90,000-year-old spirit beast, and it couldn't even compare to a 100,000-year-old spirit beast. A look of contemplation appeared on Lu Chen's face. This spirit ability can definitely be developed further. An empty shell without a soul requires my constant control. If I can find a way to preserve the soul within the corpse, I could develop a battle puppet capable of fighting on its own. Furthermore, it's best to use human spirit masters for battle puppets. Once a spirit beast loses its spirit ring and spirit bone, it becomes an empty shell, and its strength is greatly reduced. But human spirit masters can retain their power to the greatest extent. Especially high-level human spirit masters, once turned into a blood puppet, if they can still summon their spirit and use spirit abilities, their strength wouldn't be much different from when they were alive. This skill is a bit sinister. I won't use it under normal circumstances, but I have no objections to using it against Tang Hao. With this in mind, Lu Chen controlled his first blood puppet to walk around and pick up its former 9 heads one by one, then press them back onto its neck. Suddenly blood surged, and those heads actually grew back onto the neck. However, if one looked closely, cutting marks could still be seen on the neck. The heads appeared to have grown back, but they were actually just bonded together by blood. This was a blood puppet. All the driving force naturally came from the blood. As long as the blood was not exhausted, this blood puppet would never truly die. As for weaknesses, spirit masters with holy and light attributes naturally countered these blood puppets. Even the simplest purification skill could deal tons of damage to these blood puppets. Seeing that the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King was mostly restored, Lu Chen walked over. With a thought, ripples of space undulated around him, and through those spatial ripples, the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King was stored into Lu Chen's portable space. After finishing all this, Lu Chen looked around once more to ensure nothing was missed, then quickly soared into the air, flying toward the distant horizon. Soaring in the sky, a look of reflection appeared on Lu Chen's face. Tang Chen should be dying soon. He was parasitized by the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King for decades. The poison has long since seeped into his marrow, and a massive amount of his spirit power was devoured by the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King. It's impossible for him to continue the Asura god's trials. Although the Asura god isn't truly impartial, Tang Chen in this state is clearly unable to withstand the Asura divine force. Even if the god wanted to force the Asura god position onto Tang Chen's body would only be completely destroyed by the divine force. Although Tang Chen has escaped the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King's parasite, it's impossible for him to return and protect the Clear Sky sect. Tang Chen will not be an obstacle to my revenge against Tang Hao. Lu Chen's guess was pretty much spot on. Tang Chen was already dead, killed by the Asura divine force because he failed the 8th trial of the Asura 9 trials. Lu Chen took a long breath and thought. It's a pity Tang Hao escaped this time, but he can run for a while, not for a lifetime. The next time I see him will be the day he dies. It just so happens that the 9-headed bloody crimson Bat King's left arm bone I obtained this time has a blood puppet spirit ability. I'll refine Tang Hao's corpse into a blood puppet and seal his soul inside, making him fight for me forever. I will show him the meaning of cruelty. By then, even death will be a luxury. Lu Chen's thoughts jumped around. One moment he was thinking of how to retaliate against Tang Hao, and the next he was wondering if he should pick up his parents on the way. Since I've come to the Great Western Wilderness, I'll stop by Fasnuo City on the way back to pick up Mom and Dad. I'm not entirely at ease leaving them outside. Now that I've established a sect, I can bring my parents to my side to look after them. With that thought, Chen changed direction and flew toward Fasnuo City. 5 hours later, Chen arrived at Fasnuo City and met his parents, as well as Yin, who was taking care of them. Chen catalyzed 3 blue silver vines, wrapping them around the waists of Luan, Rose, and Yin, taking them into the sky as he flew toward the location of the longevity sect. Along the way, Luan and Rose were lightheaded. They were just ordinary people and had never experienced the sensation of flying. Being taken into the sky by Chen, they were quite uncomfortable for a while, feeling lightheaded and nauseous. Chen was very attentive, channeling wisps of life spirit power into his parents' bodies. Under the nourishment of the life spirit power, Luan and Rose finally gradually recovered, but their bodies remained tense and they didn't dare to open their eyes. Chen knew that this was the limit of what his parents could handle. Should I bring my parents into the world of spirit masters? In the ice and fire yin-yang well, there are medicines with mild properties that can strengthen the foundation and cleanse the marrow, even for ordinary people. Right, 8-petal immortal orchid and exquisite silk tulip. The 8-petal immortal orchid can strengthen the foundation, so I'll give it to Dad. The exquisite silk tulip can command plants, so I'll give it to Mom. These 2 immortal herbs are enough to grant them innate spirit power, and they can cultivate to become spirit masters in the future. Chapter 189, Acquired Full Spirit Power. Longevity Sect. Just as Chen returned to the longevity sect with his parents and Yin, Douluo sensed them immediately. He flew into the sky, looking first at Chen, then at Luan, Rose, and Yin, whom Chen had brought along. He asked with some confusion, Chen, why were you gone for so long? What about Tang Hao? Is he dead? And who are these people? Seeing Douluo, Chen handed his parents over to him. Tang Hao isn't dead. There was a bit of an accident, but I also gained quite a lot. The next time I see Tang Hao, I'll definitely hack him to death. Brother Douluo, these are my parents. Please take them into the sect and help them settle in. As for whether they live up on the mountain or down below, let it be according to their wishes. I'm going to the Ice and Fire Valley to pick 2 types of immortal herbs. Also, this girl has been looking after my parents, so I want to take her there to cultivate for a while. Douluo reached out, taking Luan with one hand and Rose with the other. Hearing they were Chen's parents, his expression became somewhat solemn. Although Luan and Rose were just ordinary people, because they had a son like Chen, no one would dare look down on them, not even Douluo. Douluo nodded in agreement. I understand, I'll settle your parents in. As for this girl, tell her she must keep it a secret. The Ice and Fire Valley must not be exposed. Chen smiled and nodded slightly. In the next instant, he raised his hand, and black light erupted from his palm, condensing into the revolved black iron sickle. At the same time, beneath his feet, 4 spirit rings rose one after another, black, black, red, red. A heart palpitating, surging pressure spread out in all directions. Douluo's eyes widened. How did he remember that Chen only had 3 spirit rings yesterday? Only a day had passed, and Chen had absorbed another spirit ring, and it was 100,000-year spirit ring at that. Since when did 100,000-year spirit beasts become so common? Moreover, why was this red spirit ring different from a normal 100,000-year spirit ring? Why were there 3 golden patterns on that red spirit ring? Just as Douluo was completely baffled, Chen's red 3rd spirit ring shone brightly. Space slash. Chen swung the black iron sickle, slashing the space in front of him and instantly tearing open a spatial rift. Chen called out to his parents. Dad, Mom, this is Brother Douluo, the Grand Elder of my sect. Settle in with him first. I'm going to pick 2 immortal herbs for you that can strengthen your foundations and cleanse your marrow. As he finished speaking, Chen took Yin and entered the spatial rift. After the 2 disappeared, the rift slowly healed. Luan and Rose were already so shocked they were speechless. After his own shock passed, Douluo brought Luan and Rose down into the sect and set about arranging their living quarters. Meanwhile, at the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang well, a black spatial rift suddenly tore open in the sky, and Lu Chen emerged from it with Yin. Arriving in the valley, Yin's eyes widened slightly, a look of mixed surprise and joy appearing on her face. In her perception, the dense ice and fire energy in this valley was incredibly suitable for her to cultivate. Noticing the subtle change in Yin's expression, Lu Chen knew she had discovered the uniqueness of the ice and fire yin-yang well. Yin, it seems you found out. Cultivating in this ice and fire valley can increase your speed several times over. You've been protecting my parents all this time. As a reward, you can cultivate here in the ice and fire valley from now on. You heard what Brother Douluo said just now. The secret of this valley must never be exposed. Besides that, there's a herb in this valley, the 7-star dragon tongue orchid. Help me look after it and accelerate its growth. Cultivate well. Once you become a titled Douluo, I'll make you the vice principal of Longevity Academy to assist me in managing the academy's daily affairs. Under the effect of Lu Chen's blue-silver sovereign skill, Lu Chen's words were now no different from an imperial decree to Yin. Yin's posture was respectful as she lowered her head slightly. Her voice was as pleasant as a wind chime, yet filled with unwavering determination. Yin understands. After giving Yin her instructions, Lu Chen wandered around the ice and fire yin-yang well. Before long, he found 2 immortal herbs, the 8-petal immortal orchid and the exquisite silk tulip. Without damaging the roots or stems, Lu Chen picked both immortal herbs. Lu Chen then used Space Slash again, tearing a spatial rift in midair. This time he didn't take Yin, entering the rift alone and leaving in an instant. Back at the Longevity sect, Lu Chen released his mental force, sweeping through the entire sect like a stream of water, quickly locating his parents. Since not much time had passed, Douluo Dalu was still helping Lu An and Rose pick out a room. Having arrived in such a strange place without anyone familiar by their side, Lu An and Rose seemed very restrained. No matter how Douluo Dalu tried to comfort them, their tension and unease couldn't be completely eliminated. Seeing this, Lu Chen rushed over. As he appeared before them, most of Lu An and Rose's tension and unease immediately vanished. Lu Chen held out his hands, placing the 8-petal immortal orchid and the exquisite silk tulip into Lu An and Rose's hands, respectively. He explained in a gentle voice. Dad, Mom, these are the immortal herbs I picked for you. They have the effect of strengthening foundations and cleansing marrow. If you take them as I say, you might even gain spirit power and become spirit masters in the future. Lu An and Rose looked at each other, greatly shocked. Lu An rubbed his hands together nervously. Little Chen, we're very happy you're thinking of us, but we're just ordinary people. These immortal herbs are so powerful. Isn't it a waste for the 2 of us to take them? Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. Rose also nodded quickly. I was thinking the same thing. Hearing his parents' words, Lu Chen forced the herbs into their hands and persuaded them further. After much convincing, he finally got Lu An and Rose to accept and take the immortal herbs. Under Lu Chen's guidance, Lu An and Rose consumed the 8-petal immortal orchid and the exquisite silk tulip, respectively. The moment they took the herbs, intense energy fluctuations erupted within their bodies, causing them extreme pain. Even though the medicinal properties of both herbs were relatively mild, as ordinary people, Lu An and Rose still found it difficult to withstand the massive pressure. The violent energy fluctuations made Lu An and Rose feel a crushing pain throughout their bodies. Lu Chen's heart tightened. He quickly moved behind his parents, placing one hand on his father's back and the other on his mother's. He rapidly channeled life spirit power to help them refine the massive medicinal force. Under the guidance of the life spirit power, Lu An and Rose, as ordinary people, were finally able to absorb the medicinal power of the 2 immortal herbs. As they absorbed the power of the herbs, Lu An and Rose underwent earth-shaking changes. Layers of filth were expelled from their bodies, causing them to emit a foul odor. They seemed to have grown 10 years younger. Every cell and organ in their bodies radiated vibrant vitality. Though they had been ordinary people, spirit power fluctuations actually appeared on them. From nothing, they directly gained level 10 spirit power. Generally speaking, if one does not have innate spirit power after the awakening of their spirit, it means they cannot cultivate and can never become a spirit master. But now, this common knowledge was shattered. Lu An and Rose, who had no innate spirit power, Each possessed level 10 spirit power under the nourishment of the two immortal herbs. This situation could be described as acquired full spirit power. When Lu An and Rose woke up, they were both startled by the changes in their bodies. Afterward, Lu Chen first arranged for his parents to wash up, then he took them to the spirit beast forest to hunt spirit beasts, allowing them to truly become spirit masters. Chapter 190, Tricking Tang San. Lu An's spirit was the most common farm tool, a black iron sickle. After being cleansed by the 8-petal immortal orchid, the spirit evolved, and its quality greatly improved. Furthermore, his originally fragile meridians and bones were reshaped and transformed under the medicinal power of the immortal herb. Lu Chen helped his father find a 100-year wind tiger spirit beast. After hunting this wind tiger and absorbing its spirit ring, Lu gained an offensive spirit ability called Hurricane Slash. With this, Lu officially became a one-ring power attack spirit master. Rose's spirit was the ubiquitous weed, blue-silver grass. After being nourished by the exquisite silk tulip, it clearly became more vibrant. Based on his own experience, Lu Chen found a 100-year crimson blood grass. He had Rose absorb the spirit ring of the 100-year crimson blood grass, gaining the same spirit ability as Lu Chen, blue-silver recovery. This also made Rose a one-ring support soul master. Lu Chen's father and mother had both officially become spirit masters. Although they were somewhat older, they had both been nourished by immortal herbs. As long as they continued to cultivate persistently, they would eventually achieve something in the future. After returning to the longevity sect with his parents, who felt incredibly novel after becoming spirit masters, Lu Chen personally arranged their living quarters and let them settle down within the sect. After finishing all this, Lu Chen finally had some free time. He could think about other matters. Tang Hao ran away. If he is determined to hide, finding him won't be easy. However, the father may have escaped, but the son hasn't. Finding Tang Hao is troublesome, but finding Tang San is very easy. Thinking of Tang San, a mischievous smile appeared on Lu Chen's face. When he left the Stardew Great Forest, he had killed a group of blood-sucking demon mosquitoes, and that group had dropped a 100-year blood-sucking torso bone. When he obtained this torso spirit bone, Lu Chen wanted to use it to trick Tang San and weaken his potential. However, a series of events occurred later, causing Lu Chen to delay sending this torso spirit bone to Tang San. Now is the perfect opportunity. At this thought, Lu Chen vanished from the longevity sect. After a short journey, he arrived at Heaven Dew City. Lu Chen hadn't been to Heaven Dew City for a while. Ever since Zhu Qinghe tried to recruit him and he refused, his relationship with the Heaven Dew imperial family had entered a state of complete estrangement. Zhu hated Lu Chen to death because Lu Chen's various actions didn't give him, the Heaven Dew Emperor, any face at all. If given the chance, he would certainly be willing to strike at Lu Chen and remove this completely uncontrollable factor. But the current Heaven Dew imperial family simply couldn't deal with Lu Chen. Once Lu Chen was provoked, with his strength and methods, he could slaughter his way through the Heaven Dew imperial family. Thus, Zhu could only swallow his anger and ignore Lu Chen. As for Lu Chen, he also looked down on the Heaven Dew imperial family. Despite having no real strength and only wielding secular power, they dared to lecture him. If Lu Chen wanted to, he could charge into the imperial palace at any time and easily chop off Zhu's head. But if he chopped off one emperor's head, a second person would just ascend the throne, and it was highly likely that Zhu Qinghe would be the one to reap the benefits. That was why Lu Chen didn't act immediately. He established the Longevity Academy to train students who no longer believed in feudal imperial power, all to do something big in the future and completely end the rule of feudal monarchy. Back to the present. Lu Chen entered Heaven Dew City silently and arrived at the current Shrek Academy. Releasing his mental force to sweep the area, he found Tang San's location. Then from his storage soul guidance device, he took out that 100-year blood-sucking torso bone. Looking at the spirit bone, he thought, Tang San is stubborn and headstrong, but he isn't stupid. Even if he gets this 100-year blood-sucking torso bone, he might not be foolish enough to absorb it. To make him actively absorb the spirit bone, it seems I need to disguise it a bit. With a thought, he activated the blue-silver domain. Using the disguise ability of the blue-silver domain, he imbued the 100-year blood-sucking torso bone with brilliant colors, making it emit surging energy fluctuations that were even greater than those of a 100,000-year spirit bone. Chen nodded with satisfaction. This should do. Even if Tang San is as cunning as a ghost, he won't be able to resist the temptation of a 100,000-year spirit bone. He looked up, his gaze seeming to cross several hundred meters, seeing Tang San cultivating in his room. Come over here. At the same time, Tang San, who was cultivating in his room, suddenly snapped out of his cultivation state. He was stunned. His blue-silver grass martial soul seemed to receive a summons, making it impossible for him to re-enter his cultivation state. What's going on? What exactly is summoning my blue-silver grass martial soul? Tang San frowned deeply, his body tensing. His hands moved to the 24 moonlit bridges at his waist, ready to pull out hidden weapons at any moment. He was extremely alert in the face of this sudden situation. He leaped up from the ground and cautiously walked out of the room. Once outside, the feeling of being summoned became significantly stronger. Even the blue-silver grass in the surrounding lawn was swaying slightly, as if urging Tang San not to hesitate and to follow the summons immediately. Tang San's frown deepened. His blue-silver grass martial soul was exceptionally restless and had begun to slip from his control. To soothe his blue-silver grass martial soul, he had no choice but to follow the summons and walk toward the small woods. Tang San's bloodline had not yet undergone awakening, so his blue-silver grass martial soul was just blue-silver grass. It wasn't surprising for it to react this way to a summons from the blue-silver emperor. In a short moment, Tang San reached the depths of the small woods. Once there, he discovered a spot on the ground ahead that was emitting light. After checking the surroundings and finding no danger, Tang San walked to the glowing spot. He dug away the soil and unearthed a brilliantly glowing torso bone. The torso bone was still emitting surging energy fluctuations. Holding the palm-sized torso bone in his hands, Tang San's hands trembled, his eyes widened, and he looked shocked. He couldn't help but gasp. This is a spirit bone, and a torso spirit bone at that. Such terrifying energy fluctuations, they're making my whole body tremble. This is definitely no ordinary spirit bone. It's likely a 10,000-year spirit bone, or even a 100,000-year spirit bone. Hiss, how could such a precious spirit bone be discarded in these woods? No matter, I found it, so it's mine. I still have a great vendetta to settle. With this high-quality spirit bone, I believe I can soon seek revenge against Chen. Just like those stories in the Jianghu of my past life, some protagonist survives a disaster and finds secret manuals or sharp weapons left behind by a senior expert, achieving a major achievement in divine skills in a short time to take revenge on their enemies. I didn't expect that Tang San would also have the fate of a protagonist. This spirit bone is a gift from the heavens. At this thought, Tang San was completely blinded by this 100,000-year spirit bone. His usual shrewdness and calculations were completely crushed by the greed in his heart. Tang San sat down cross-legged on the spot, placed the brilliantly glowing torso spirit bone against his chest, and injected his spirit power into it. This caused the spirit bone to burst with radiant light, turning into streams of Kai that quickly merged into his body. He didn't wait a single moment, and immediately began absorbing the spirit bone. Seeing this, Chen, who was hiding in the shadows, chuckled and thought, "That's it, this 100-year blood-sucking torso bone, go ahead and absorb it." I really look forward to seeing the expression on Tang Hao's face when he comes to find you and discovers you've absorbed a 100-year torso bone. It will be quite a sight. The blood drain skill of this spirit bone only has a 1% energy conversion efficiency, but if you kill enough humans and spirit beasts, you can still quickly increase your cultivation. Tang San, I look forward to the day you completely fall from grace. Once the absorption of a spirit bone begins, it cannot be stopped. Therefore, Chen stopped watching and turned to leave Shrek Academy. Meanwhile, in the small woods, after half an hour of absorption, Tang San successfully absorbed the 100-year blood-sucking torso bone. A mere 100-year spirit bone had almost no energy, so absorbing it didn't take much time. When he woke up again, Tang San was completely dazed. He shouted in anger. Why is it like this? I absorbed a 100,000-year spirit bone, so why did my spirit power only increase by 1 rank, from rank 31 to rank 32? and more than half of the credit for that is because I've been diligently cultivating the mysterious heaven skill lately. And what's with this skill, blood drain? The energy conversion efficiency is actually only 1%. Tang San was on the verge of a breakdown. He felt as if his world had collapsed. His previous excitement had vanished without a trace. All that remained was frustration, anger, and despair. Chapter 191, The Beginning of Corruption. Teacher. Right, I still have teacher. With teacher's intelligence and wisdom, he will definitely know how to strip away a spirit bone. Tang San was desperately seeking any solution he could find. Realizing that there was definitely something wrong with the 100,000-year spirit bone he had just absorbed, he hurriedly stood up from the ground. With a look of hope, like a drowning man clutching at a straw, he ran frantically out of the small grove. Using ghost shadow perplexing track, he vanished in the blink of an eye. In less than 3 minutes, Tang San reached the wooden hut where his teacher lived, only to hear his teacher having a breakdown as well. Tang San couldn't help but slow his pace, tilting his head to listen carefully to his teacher's voice. Yu Xiaorogang's voice, accompanied by some clattering sounds, drifted out from the wooden hut. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Clear Sky Douluo, he is a peerless hero, a terrifying existence with a 100,000-year spirit ring. Back then, just as Clear Sky Douluo broke through to titled Douluo, he was besieged by the previous Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, Qian Zunji, and 2 titled Douluo elders. Clear Sky Douluo not only survived, but also killed those 2 titled Douluo elders and heavily wounded Qian Zunji. What heroic spirit, what a magnificent feat. Even thinking back on it now, it still makes one's blood boil, wishing to have fought side by side with Clear Sky Douluo. How could he possibly be defeated by Chen, and then hunted down until his fate is unknown? I don't believe it. This is false news. It must be false news. I don't believe such an absurd thing. It turned out that a day ago, Tang Hao had gone to find trouble with Chen, only to be defeated and pursued. After a day of fermentation, this news had already spread within a small circle of the Heaven Dew Empire. Ordinary commoners might know nothing about it, but spirit masters who were even slightly well-informed had already learned of the matter. After Yu Xiaorogang learned this news, his mental state became somewhat unstable. In his room, he smashed everything that could be smashed. To Yu Xiaorogang, Tang Hao was his spiritual pillar. Yu Xiaorogang was a waste himself, so he felt awe and worship from the bottom of his heart for Tang Hao, who possessed great strength. Now that Tang Hao was being hunted with his fate unknown, Yu Xiaorogang felt more distressed than anyone else, simply refusing to believe the news was true. During this period, Yu Xiaorogang had heard too much bad news. He had a breakdown every once in a while, and he was nearly on the verge of a heart attack. This could be said to be Yu Xiaorogang's darkest hour. His family had removed his name, and his former girlfriend, the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall, had also been removed from her position and was now under internal investigation. Now his idol Tang Hao was also being hunted with his fate unknown. Yu Xiaorogang truly felt like dying. The resentment, frustration, and anger in his heart could only be vented through smashing things. After all, as a waste, he certainly didn't dare to hit people, so he could only smash tables, chairs, cups, and plates. Outside the room, Tang San was struck, as if by lightning upon hearing Yu Xiaorogang's words, his body stumbling. His expression was wooden, his eyes vacant, and his lips trembled. Father was defeated by Chen, and was hunted down until his fate is unknown. Ever since Tang San learned that Tang Hao was not a simple blacksmith, but the Clear Sky Douluo who awed the Douluo Continent. He had always regarded Tang Hao as his greatest pillar and backer. He had even imagined that as long as he could find Tang Hao, he could deal with Chen in one fell swoop, completely wash away his shame, and take Xiao Wu back from Chen's side. Now everything had turned into bubbles. His father, Tang Hao, was actually not that powerful. Despite the talk of him awing the continent, the result was being hunted until his fate was unknown. Tang San's face slumped, his eyebrows knitted together, his eyes darkened, and his expression withered. Father can't be relied upon at all. I can only rely on myself, torso spirit bone, blood drain skill. Even if the energy conversion efficiency is only 1%, as long as I absorb enough blood, I can still rapidly increase my spirit power. It's just that consuming human blood is something only a fallen spirit master would do. I absolutely cannot do such a thing. I, Tang San, also have my own bottom line. But absorbing spirit beast blood doesn't have so many problems. Spirit beasts and human spirit masters are mortal enemies. If we human spirit masters don't kill spirit beasts will kill us human spirit masters. Naturally, evil spirit beasts should be killed by me and turned into my power. I am also doing this to eliminate a public nuisance, lest those evil spirit beasts continue to do harm. Out of a desire for power, Tang San quickly completed his psychological preparation. He didn't plan to absorb the blood of human spirit masters for the time being, but he had no such qualms about absorbing the blood of spirit beasts. After all, he had already decided in his heart that spirit beasts were all evil. Having made up his mind, Tang San turned and left. He no longer intended to strip away this torso spirit bone. With no one to rely on, he now hungered for power beyond measure. This spirit bone might have some problems, but for the current Tang San, it was a shortcut to becoming strong. How could this not be considered a gift from heaven? In fact, Tang San was also triggered. If he had thought seriously, he would have realized that once he took a shortcut in cultivation, he would sooner or later find the speed of proper cultivation to be too slow. When he became addicted to the rapid increase in cultivation brought by blood drain, it would be the beginning of his corruption. Lu Chen's defeat of Tang Hao and his pursuit of him until his fate was unknown was something even Yu Zairogang had heard about, so the other various powers of the Heaven Du Empire naturally knew clearly as well. Stepping on the prestige of Tang Hao, the clear sky Douluo, Lu Chen once again deterred all factions. Aside from Zhu Yi's impotent rage, the Heaven Du Imperial family made no response whatsoever. They wanted to win over Lu Chen, but Lu Chen didn't give them face. They wanted to deal with Lu Chen, but they didn't have the courage. Aside from turning a blind eye, the Heaven Du Imperial family had no other choice. In the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, Clan Master Yu Yuanzhen remained silent for a long time. This famously prestigious Thunder Douluo seemed to have aged 10 years in an instant. He had to admit that the future belonged to the young people. Subsequently, Yu Yuanzhen ordered that from then on, whenever Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan disciples encountered people from the Longevity sect, they must show them great courtesy. And in Spirit Hall, Qian Dailiu, who was now in charge, said something with an ambiguous meaning after learning of Lu Chen's deeds. From now on, the #1 powerhouse on this continent shall be Lu Chen. Perhaps because Qian Dailiu still had some moral bottom line, or perhaps because he valued his own face, he did not rush to intercept and kill Lu Chen just because of Lu Chen's talent. Instead, he chose to adjust the training plan for his granddaughter, Qian Renxiu, preparing to accelerate her cultivation speed. In Qian Dailiu's view, even if Lu Chen became the continent's #1 powerhouse by relying on his twin spirits, as long as he could not become a god, he would at most be on par with him. As long as he raised his granddaughter to become a god, when the holy light of the angel god shone over the entire continent, even if Lu Chen broke through to level 99 spirit power and became a super Douluo, he could only submit under the holy light of the angel god. As for the imprisoned Bibaidong, she knew nothing of the outside information. Now, Bibaidong was completely lying low. She hadn't compromised. She was waiting for an opportunity. Currently, Qian Dailiu was watching her very closely. She was waiting for the moment when Qian Dailiu relaxed his guard. That would be her golden opportunity to escape Spirit Hall. In a relatively peaceful atmosphere, another month passed. As the news of Lu Chen defeating Tang Hao continued to ferment, his fame became louder and louder. More and more disciples were willing to join the Longevity sect, and more students were willing to join Longevity Academy. As the sect master of the Longevity sect and the dean of Longevity Academy, Lu Chen naturally turned no one away. Additionally, there was another piece of good news. After more than a month of cultivation, the 7-star Dragon Tongue Orchid had matured 11 times, and Lu Chen had harvested it 11 times. Including the very first 7-star Dragon Tongue Orchid in his hand, Lu Chen now had a total of 12 7-star Dragon Tongue Orchids. This should be more than enough to nurture 3,000 Jun ants. Thus, carrying the 12 7-star Dragon Tongue Orchids, Lu Chen headed once more to the Stardew Great Forest. This time he wanted to complete the addition of the 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings for his second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle. Chapter 192, Feeding the 1,000 Jun Ants. Stardew Great Forest. Towering ancient trees, dense thickets of thorns, grass, and vines intertwined at various heights, sketching a vast and primitive picture. Within this forest, Chen flew at a low altitude, his hair fluttering and his robes snapping in the wind. Breathing in the air mixed with the scent of vegetation and the earthy smell of soil, the corners of his mouth curled slightly, his expression full of determination. Returning to the Stardew Great Forest this time, he was determined to nurture those 3 Kainjun ant brothers into 100,000-year spirit beasts. The spirit rings and spirit bones of 300,000-year spirit beasts would surely bring him a massive boost. Now, the only problem before him was where those 3,000 Jun ants were hidden in the forest. But that wasn't much of a problem. When he first encountered those 3,000 Jun ants, he had already placed mental imprints on them. Now, Chen only needed to trigger the mental imprints to immediately know the location of those 3,000 Jun ants. With a thought from Chen, the 3 mental imprints were instantly triggered. Within his mental perception, 3 bright torches immediately flared up at a certain location in the mixed zone of the Stardew Great Forest. Found you! Chen's eyes sparkled. He circulated his spirit power to increase his speed and rushed toward the location of those 3 torches. He sped along like a bolt of lightning, the gale he kicked up making the leaves rustle loudly. Even a sliver of the aura he unintentionally emitted could make many nearby spirit beasts tremble in fear. 10-year spirit beasts and 100-year spirit beasts fainted directly from fright. Even 1,000-year spirit beasts and 10,000-year spirit beasts only dared to prostrate themselves on the ground and play dead, fearing that Chen, who was passing by, would notice them. Where was this? This was the Stardew Great Forest. The largest spirit beast forest on the entire Douluo Continent, it possessed the greatest number, the most diverse species, and the most powerful spirit beasts. Any human spirit master who came to the Stardew Great Forest had to be cautious, fearing they might accidentally provoke a big fellow. Someone like Chen, who was so flamboyant and completely unafraid of attracting spirit beast attacks, was definitely as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. This also indirectly illustrated how powerful Chen's current strength was. Under Chen's rapid travel, it took less than 10 minutes for him to reach the location of the 3 torches. To avoid alerting the enemy, Chen stopped flying in the sky. He landed on the ground and fully restrained his aura. Through the gaps between the treetops, Chen could see 3,000 Jun ants, each over a meter long, lazily basking in the sun in a clearing about 100 meters away. They were exactly the 3 Kainjun ant brothers Chen had seen last time. Seeing that the sizes of the 3 brothers had grown slightly, it was evident that their cultivation had improved again. It had increased from about 30,000 years to around 35,000 years. In just a few short months, their cultivation had increased by another 5,000 years. It seemed that during this time, they had hunted and killed many more Kainjun ant queens. By devouring the Kainjun ant queens, their cultivation grew rapidly. Behind them was a deep earthen hole that looked bottomless, with a large number of 1,000 Jun ant corpses scattered around it. It was clear that these 3 Kainjun ant brothers had pulled off another big job. Now that they were full and satisfied, they were lazily basking in the sun. Seeing this, Chen thought to himself, 35,000 years of cultivation, not bad. It's just that there's still a long way to go until 100,000 years. Let me speed up your cultivation speed. Then, with a thought, Chen opened his portable space, took out 3 7-star dragon tongue orchids from it, and dropped them on the ground in front of him. As for himself, he used the camouflage ability of the blue-silver domain to disguise himself as an ordinary stalk of blue-silver grass, silently waiting nearby for the 3,000 Jun ants to come over. A moment later, the antennae on the heads of the 3,000 Jun ants in the clearing suddenly moved. Each of them caught a faint, delicate fragrance, and also sensed an astonishing energy fluctuation. This made the 3,000 Jun ants excited. They quickly formed a circle, and after communicating in a way incomprehensible to outsiders, dashed toward the direction from which the fragrance was coming. The 3,000 Jun ants were extremely fast. In just a few breaths, they had covered the 100-meter distance and arrived at the spot where Chen had dropped the 3 7-star dragon tongue orchids. Seeing the 3 7-star dragon tongue orchids scattered on the ground, the 3,000 Jun ants were overjoyed. Each rushed to one of the 7-star dragon tongue orchids, lowered its head, bit into it, and began to devour it. With their small brain capacity, they couldn't understand why a heaven and earth treasure-level herb like the 7-star dragon tongue orchid would appear here for no reason. Nor did they understand why there were 3 of these herbs as soon as they appeared, just enough for each 1,000-jun ant to have one. They didn't even need to have an internal conflict. Someone had already helped them distribute these heaven and earth treasure-level herbs. The gifts of fate have already been marked with a price in secret. Now, in the eyes of the 3,000-jun ants, there were only the 7-star dragon tongue orchids in front of them. They would never have imagined that there was a person in the shadows who had already set his sights on their spirit rings and spirit bones. In less than a minute, the 3,000-jun ants had each eaten a 7-star dragon tongue orchid. Astonishing energy fluctuations immediately erupted from their bodies. The 7-star dragon tongue orchid contained vast and variegated medicinal power. If a normal human spirit master were to consume it, there would be only one outcome: their body would explode and they would die. But for spirit beasts, it was just right. The 3,000-jun ants had sturdy bodies, terrifying strength, and a layer of carapace for protection. Under the impact of that vast and variegated medicinal power, they were largely unaffected. After eating the 7-star dragon tongue orchids and feeling incredibly satisfied, the antennae on the heads of the 3,000-jun ants flickered frequently. After a brief exchange, the 3,000-jun ants returned to the clearing from before, crawled into that deep earthen hole, and soon reached the depths of the cave. Having returned to a safe place, the 3,000-jun ants each closed their eyes and soon fell into a deep slumber. If anyone were here, they would find that a faint golden light was emanating from the carapaces of the 3,000-jun ants. Their sizes were steadily increasing, and an astonishing spirit power pressure filled the entire underground cave. Chen was outside, but his mental force was always shrouded over the underground cave, carefully observing the changes in the sizes of the 3,000-jun ants and silently calculating the increase in their cultivation. Chen waited for 10 days. During these 10 days, the 1,000-jun ants were all digesting the medicinal power of the 7-star dragon tongue orchids. Each 1,000-jun ant's cultivation increased by 20,000 years. Now, the 3,000-jun ants had all reached a cultivation level of 55,000 years. This gave Chen an idea. One 7-star dragon tongue orchid can increase 1,000-jun ant's cultivation by 20,000 years. I still have 9 7-star dragon tongue orchids in my hand. If I distribute them equally among the 3,000-jun ants, I can increase each of their cultivation by another 60,000 years. Now that the 3,000-jun ants are all 55,000-year spirit beasts, increasing each of their cultivation by 60,000 years would bring them to 115,000 years. This way, my 300,000-year spirit rings definitely won't get away. Thinking of this, Chen took out another 3 7-star dragon tongue orchids from his portable space and dropped them at the entrance of the cave. The familiar fragrance of the 7-star dragon tongue orchids woke the 3,000-jun ants sleeping in the depths of the cave. Feeling their strength increase, they all jumped and hopped excitedly, as if they were dancing. However, the terrifying strength of the 3,000-jun ants caused the entire ground to tremble. After reaching a cultivation level of 55,000 years, their strength had become even more terrifying. Then they stopped their dancing. Smelling that familiar fragrance, the antennae on the heads of the 3,000-jun ants swayed incessantly, their excitement beyond words. They scrambled to leave the cave and, at the entrance, discovered another 3 7-star dragon tongue orchids that had brought them such a great boost. Without any suspicion, the 3,000-jun ants feasted greedily again. After finishing the 7-star dragon tongue orchids, they returned to the depths of the cave to sleep. In their slumber, they digested and absorbed the medicinal power of those 7-star dragon tongue orchids. Chapter 193: The Super Evolution of the 1,000-jun Ants. Hiss, hiss. Accompanied by bursts of hissing, a datura snake with a head as large as a bushel, a body of emerald green as thick as an adult's thigh, and a length of over 10 meters lunged out from the forest. It flicked its tongue incessantly, gathering information from the air. By chance, it had sensed the high-energy presence of a heaven and earth treasure here, something that could cause its cultivation to skyrocket, so it had hurried over. The datura snake slithered forward, and soon arrived at the cave where the three Kainjun ant brothers were slumbering. Instantly, its beastly pupils gleamed with greed and pleasant surprise. This was the place. The location where that heaven and earth treasure had last appeared was right inside this cave. The Datura snake poked its head in, poised to strike and slither into the cave. In an instant, several thick blue-silver vines shot out, whipping the Datura snake one after another. A series of crackling sounds rang out as the Datura snake suffered heavy injuries and was sent flying backward. With a loud thud, the Datura snake slammed heavily onto the ground. Covered in bruises, its eyes filled with terror, it didn't dare stay a moment longer and fled the scene in a pathetic state. Seeing this, Chen, who was sitting on a tree branch, withdrew his gaze. It seems the 7-star dragon tongue orchid is indeed quite a temptation for spirit beasts. This 10,000-year Datura snake is already the 13th wave of spirit beasts I've driven away. The three Kainjun ant brothers are currently at a critical stage of their metamorphosis. I cannot allow these spirit beasts to disturb their transformation. Since this concerned Chen's 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings, he had been guarding the three Kainjun ant brothers from all angles during this time, simply not wanting them to be disturbed. Although the transformation process was relatively long, fortunately, Chen did not lack patience. Day by day passed, and soon a month had gone by. During this month, the three Kainjun ant brothers woke up twice, and Chen fed them the 7-star dragon tongue orchid both times. Every time they finished eating the 7-star dragon tongue orchid, the three Kainjun ant brothers would return to their deep slumber. This caused their cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds, and their size grew larger by the day. As of today, each 1,000-jun ant had expanded to 3 meters in size. Their physiques were powerful, filled with explosive strength, and they were covered in golden shells with defensive capabilities strong enough to drive anyone to despair. During their slumber, they would occasionally move. Even the slightest motion would cause the mountains to shake and the ground to tremble. One could see just how great the strength of the 1,000-jun ants was. Now, the cultivation of the three Kainjun ant brothers had reached a limit, needing only a moment of accumulated power to burst forth. It was now. A mysterious and profound aura radiated from the 3,000-jun ants, drifting out of the cave, sweeping across the sky, and heading straight into the high heavens. It was as if they had offended a divinity, for the sky suddenly underwent a drastic change. Masses of white clouds emitted a dark light, gathering to blot out the sun and forming a massive black cloud that covered a radius of several hundred meters. The black clouds stacked layer upon layer, accompanied by thunderous roars, as streaks of silver-white lightning erupted. Like snakes and pythons, they tumbled up and down within the black clouds. That destructive and terrifying fluctuation caused countless spirit beasts in the Stardew Great Forest to tremble with fear, feeling deep shock and awe at this heavenly power. From 10-year and 100-year spirit beasts to 1,000-year and 10,000-year spirit beasts, all prostrated themselves on the ground, not even daring to breathe loudly for fear that the thunder and lightning in the sky would strike them down. But this was entirely their unfounded worry. How could an ordinary spirit beast attract a heavenly tribulation? This was a heavenly tribulation triggered only when a 90,000-year spirit beast broke through the 100,000-year limit, or for spirit beasts over 100,000 years old, every time they gained another 100,000 years of cultivation. The ones triggering the heavenly tribulation this time were precisely the three Kainjun ant brothers. The 3,000-jun ants were simultaneously breaking their limits and were about to be promoted to 100,000-year spirit beasts. As long as they survived the heavenly tribulation, they would be genuine 100,000-year spirit beasts. If they failed to survive, they would only turn into charred corpses under the tribulation. Because the three Kainjun ant brothers were undergoing tribulation at the same time, the tribulations of the three spirit beasts converged into an unprecedentedly massive black cloud. One could imagine that the power of this heavenly tribulation would also be 3 times its original strength, causing the difficulty for the three Kainjun ant brothers to rise linearly. Seeing this scene, Chen also broke into a cold sweat for the 3,000-jun ants. He thought to himself, "Three Kainjun ant brothers, you must succeed in your tribulation. I am still waiting to absorb your spirit rings and spirit bones to enhance my strength. I must keep a close watch in a moment. If the three Kyanjun ant brothers can survive the heavenly tribulation, I will kill them after they pass. After being baptized by the tribulation, they will be sublimated and considered true 100,000-year spirit beasts. If the three Kyanjun ant brothers cannot survive, then before the heavenly tribulation completely destroys them, I will step in and make sure they die by my hand. I have invested 12 7-star dragon tongue orchids. I can't let that go to waste. Just at this moment, accompanied by a slight tremor of the earth, the 3,000 Jun ants walked out of the cave one after another. They stood on the ground in a row, chests out and heads held high, showing a defiant and upward posture. They felt they were truly lucky to have mysteriously received gifts from heaven. Every time they woke up, they could eat immortal herbs containing vigorous medicinal power. This allowed them to break through from 35,000-year spirit beasts to 100,000-year spirit beasts in a very short period of time. At this moment, they felt they were the chosen ants, destined to dominate the Stardew Great Forest. Zhai! The 1,000 Jun ant in the middle waved its two antennae constantly and let out a piercing roar, as if demonstrating its defiance against the heavenly tribulation. It was shouting that its fate was determined by itself, not by heaven. After it finished shouting, the 2,000 Jun ants beside it also shouted loudly. Zhai! They were also shouting that their fate was determined by themselves, not by heaven. Under their provocation, the heavenly tribulation high in the sky seemed to become enraged. The black clouds churned, wild winds howled, and a lightning dragon poured down. The lightning dragon was as thick as a water vat, tearing through the air and emitting bursts of wailing shrieks. In an instant, this lightning dragon was less than 30 meters away from the three Kyanjun ant brothers. The three Kyanjun ant brothers cooperated with perfect chemistry. Their movements were uniform as they raised their two front pincers and clamped them together. A terrifying spirit power pressure erupted from within their bodies, but the power did not scatter. Instead, it was highly concentrated at the position of their front pincers. In an instant, 3 emerald green rays shot out from the front pincers of the three Kyanjun ant brothers. Those highly compressed energy rays radiated shocking spirit power fluctuations. Wherever they passed, the air was distorted, leaving only warped afterimages. The 3 energy rays collided with the striking lightning dragon, producing a deafening explosion. Boom! With a loud bang, the lightning dragon exploded directly, scattering into dozens or even hundreds of silver-white lightning bolts. These silver-white lightning bolts continued to fall, landing on the bodies of the 3,000 Jun ants, but they were no longer enough to cause them any harm. The golden shells covering the 3,000 Jun ants shone brightly. Under the tempering of the silver-white lightning, their bloodlines became purer, their physiques more robust, their strength more terrifying, and their defense more astounding. In short, as long as the heavenly tribulation could not destroy them, it would bring them no small amount of benefit. In the distance, Chen, seeing this scene, also pumped his fist to cheer on the three Kyanjun ant brothers. Good, beautifully done, just keep going like this. Chapter 194, May the Heavens Spare Us. Rumbles, rumble, rumble. In the sky, amidst the dark clouds, 3 more world-shaking roars resounded, their sound echoing for 100 miles. Some weak spirit beasts fainted on the spot, while the powerful ones were left trembling in fear. Accompanied by a burst of incredibly intense, blinding light, 3 lightning dragons as thick as water vats charged down from the dark clouds. Carrying a terrifying aura capable of destroying all things, they struck toward the 3,000 Jun ants. In an instant, the 3 lightning dragons were less than 30 meters away from the 3,000 Jun ants. This time there were 3 lightning dragons, and the 3,000 Jun ants had a clear division of labor, with 1,000 Jun ant dealing with 1 lightning dragon each. The 3,000 Jun ants stood in a row, simultaneously waving their 2 front pincers and clasping them together. A terrifying spirit power pressure erupted from their bodies once again, and highly compressed emerald rays shot out from their front pincers immediately after. The 3 emerald rays, powerful enough to distort the air, collided with the 3 lightning dragons in an instant. Rumbles, rumble, rumble. The 3 deafening explosions produced a blinding light that made it impossible to look directly at them. The turbulent airflow caused by the explosions formed waves of physical shockwaves that spread out in all directions. As the blinding light dissipated slightly, one could see that the three lightning dragons, originally as thick as water vats, had been blown apart into lightning snakes and electric pythons the thickness of an adult's thigh. Although their power had decreased by more than half, they still relentlessly struck the 3,000 Jun ants. Previously, 3 emerald rays had attacked a single lightning dragon, so they could tear one lightning dragon into dozens or hundreds of fine bolts of lightning. But this time, 1 emerald ray attacked 1 lightning dragon. The power was insufficient to completely tear the lightning dragon apart, only managing to shred it into lightning snakes and electric pythons. Over a dozen lightning snakes and electric pythons poured onto the bodies of the 3,000 Jun ants, producing a series of crackling explosions. The ground beneath the 3,000 Jun ants' feet was scorched black by the lightning, and a burnt smell filled the air. Even more tragic were the small flowers and grasses. They were directly torn to pieces by the lightning. Within a radius of several hundred meters, all vegetation turned into charred ash, forming a thick layer on the ground. Squeak! 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 In the center of the lightning, under the baptism of the silver-white electricity, the 3,000 Jun ants each let out a cry of pain. On the golden shells of the 1,000 Jun ants, the light had dimmed slightly, leaving behind lightning-like scorch marks. This was the heavenly tribulation, the might of heaven and earth. Even though the 1,000 Jun ants had incredible defense, they still suffered a certain amount of damage under the heavenly tribulation. It wasn't that they weren't strong enough, but that the power of the heavenly tribulation was too abnormal. Each lightning dragon's power was no less than the 9th spirit ability of a titled Douluo. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. The 3 lightning dragons just now were equivalent to 3 titled Douluo performing their 9th spirit ability simultaneously. Facing such an onslaught, the 3,000 Jun ants only sustained minor injuries, showing that their strength was comparable to a level 95 super Douluo. Enough talk, the heavy dark clouds in the sky did not give the 3,000 Jun ants more time to recover before another series of rumbles echoed. Rumbles, 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 rumble, rumble, rumble. This time, 6 rumbles echoed within the heavy dark clouds, the sound so earth-shaking that it seemed as if only the thunderous explosions remained in the world. Destructive fluctuations spread rapidly, and fine silver-white electric arcs flickered in the air. The lightning energy was so dense that it turned the surroundings into a lightning purgatory. Facing the 6 lightning dragons charging down from the dark clouds, the 3,000 Jun ants became extremely solemn. Each fired an emerald ray, blowing apart 3 of the 6 lightning dragons into dozens of lightning snakes and electric pythons. Now the situation was that 3 lightning dragons as thick as water vats, along with over a dozen lightning snakes and electric pythons the size of an adult's thigh, were striking toward the 3,000 Jun ants. The 3,000 Jun ants didn't dare to take the hit directly. They quickly huddled together, their golden shells glowing with golden light as they jointly propped up a golden barrier over a foot thick. Heavy, majestic, and exuding an aura as immovable as a mountain, it looked like an unbreakable fortress. Rumbles, rumble, rumble. The 3 lightning dragons and the dozen or so lightning snakes struck the golden barrier together. The sound of explosions was continuous, the wind howled and waves of air surged, sending out ripples that spread in circles. Near the 3,000 Jun ants, the ground was blasted with craters of various sizes. Dust flew everywhere, and the surroundings presented an apocalyptic scene. Under such a destructive bombardment, the golden barrier held up by the 3,000 Jun ants actually managed to withstand it. The incredible defensive power of this golden barrier was truly breathtaking. The price paid was that most of the spirit power within the 3,000 Jun ants was consumed, and the aura they emitted clearly weakened significantly. Without giving them a moment to catch their breaths, 9 deafening rumbles echoed from the heavy dark clouds in the sky. A total of 9 lightning dragons as thick as water vats galloped down from the dark clouds together. The destructive fluctuations distorted the air, filling the entire sky with blinding lightning. Seeing this scene, the 3 Kyanjun ant brothers' antennae waved frantically, and they no longer had their initial high spirits. Before facing the heavenly tribulation, they had shouted, "My fate is my own, not determined by heaven." After truly facing the heavenly tribulation, they only wanted to say, "May the heavens spare us." 1 lightning dragon they could handle with ease. 3 lightning dragons they could barely manage. 6 lightning dragons, they were already struggling to cope. 9 lightning dragons, this was going to cost them their lives. The 3,000 Jun ants huddled tightly together, desperately squeezing the spirit power in their bodies to once again prop up the foot-thick golden barrier. In an instant, one lightning dragon after another struck the golden barrier. The overwhelming power released caused the golden barrier to fluctuate violently, bringing it to the brink of collapse. When the 5th lightning dragon struck the golden barrier, with a bang, the barrier completely shattered into large and small golden fragments like glass. As the golden barrier shattered, the remaining lightning dragons all struck the bodies of the 3,000 Jun ants. Crackle, a series of explosions rang out. Blinding electric light flickered incessantly. Squeak! 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 The 3 Kainjun ant brothers let out shrill screams. Under the destructive power of the lightning dragons, their golden shells quickly turned charred black, as if carbonized, and began to peel off their bodies piece by piece. Beneath the golden shells, the equally charred flesh was revealed. The intense pain caused the 3 Kainjun ant brothers to all collapse to the ground. Their cries became weaker and weaker, and there was not a single intact part on their bodies. These 9 lightning dragons had shattered their golden barrier and taken half of their lives with them. After a while, the blinding lightning gradually dispersed. At the location of the 3 Kainjun ant brothers, a large crater had appeared within a 500-meter radius. The crater was charred black, having been leveled by 3 feet by the lightning. Seeing this, Chen sighed in his heart. The 3 Kainjun ant brothers are already so heavily injured. It seems they won't survive the next wave of the lightning tribulation. To prevent them from turning into fly ash under the tribulation, I should be the one to kill them. Just as Chen had this thought, 8 more rumbles echoed within the dark clouds. 8 lightning dragons as thick as water vats poured out again, attacking the 3 Kainjun ant brothers. The 3 Kainjun ant brothers no longer had the strength to resist. Despair flashed in their eyes, but they didn't seem to want to give up just like that. Perhaps it was the immortal herbs they had consumed that allowed a surge of spirit power to emerge from their drained bodies once more. Relying on this final bit of spirit power, the 3 Kainjun ant brothers no longer faced the lightning dragons head-on. Instead, they dug a large hole on the spot and crawled into it. The 2 front pincers of the 1,000 Jun ants were strong and powerful. Besides being used for attacks, they were also experts at digging holes. Right before the lightning dragons could strike their bodies, they managed to dig a hole 100 meters deep and hid in the underground world. Allowing the soil to envelop them, it became another layer of protection. Rumbles, rumble, rumble. 8 lightning dragons as thick as water vats struck the ground one after another, leveling the earth layer by layer. Soon, a massive crater several meters deep was blasted into the original location of the 3 Kainjun ant brothers. Sand, soil, vegetation, and vines, everything in the vicinity turned to ash under the lightning's bombardment. But the 3 Kainjun ant brothers, hidden 100 meters underground, miraculously survived. Chen was also amazed. He had been ready to step in, but seeing the 3 Kainjun ant brothers hide underground made him stop. It is well known that the earth is an excellent conductor. The 8 destructive lightning dragons struck the ground, and their lightning energy was dispersed by the earth. Thus, the 3 Kainjun ant brothers managed to survive. Chapter 195, 300,000-Year Spirit Rings. About 10 minutes later, wisps of white smoke still drifted from the charred pit on the ground, carrying a burnt smell. In the center of the pit, a patch of soil suddenly moved, bulging upward into a mound before bursting open to reveal a pitch-black head poking out. This pitch-black head belonged precisely to a 1,000 Jun ant. 2 antennae swayed back and forth to sense the outside world. Finding no danger, the dark clouds in the sky completely dissipated, and sunlight shone upon the earth once more. Sensing the situation, the lead 1,000 Jun ant crawled out of the tunnel, followed shortly by the second and then the third. They cheered and leaped with joy. Squeak! 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 They had successfully survived the heavenly tribulation, and were now genuine 100,000-year spirit beasts. Although their carapaces were currently shattered, their bodies covered in scars, their flesh charred, and their internal spirit power completely exhausted, to the point where their aura was inferior to even some 10,000-year spirit rings. It didn't matter. As long as they rested for a while, waited for the charred flesh to heal and the broken carapaces to regrow, their strength would return to its peak. As long as they remained united, 300,000-year spirit beasts were enough to run rampant throughout the entire Stardew Great Forest. Even the two beast kings rumored to reside in the core of the Stardew Great Forest were opponents the three brothers would dare to challenge. However, just as the three Kainjun ant brothers were envisioning their future, a cold voice drifted over. Blood Shadow 100 Breaker Strike. The three Kainjun ant brothers turned to look, instantly seeing hundreds of blood-colored flying blades shooting toward them, blotting out the sky. Squeak! 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 The three of them were struck with terror. Having just survived the heavenly tribulation, they were at their weakest. They could no longer release their emerald rays or their golden barriers. Even their golden carapaces had been carbonized into fragments by the Thunder Dragon's bombardment and were falling off their bodies. Now helpless against the attack, the three Kainjun ant brothers turned, wanting to flee back to the underground world. But it was already too late. Hundreds of blood-colored flying blades swept through the bodies of the three Kainjun ant brothers, and amidst three shrill cries, they were completely dismembered. Crack, crack. Segments of bodies and severed limbs instantly scattered across the ground, as streams of viscous liquid surged and flowed, emitting a foul, fishy stench. The three Kainjun ant brothers, who had just ascended to become 100,000-year spirit beasts, were immediately reduced to a pile of severed limbs. This was the ultimate demonstration of the impermanence of the world. What seemed like an absurd scene was, in fact, perfectly normal. After all, the three Kainjun ant brothers were at their weakest, while they were facing Liu Chen at his peak, and Liu Chen had even used his 300,000-year fourth spirit ability, the Blood Shadow 100 Breaker Strike. The three Kainjun ant brothers did not die in vain. With the death of the three Kainjun ant brothers, surges of red energy erupted from their bodies, soaring into the sky to form three pillars of red light. The surging pressure of the spirit power caused the surrounding air to solidify, as if time itself had stood still. Seeing this, Liu Chen let out a long, excited breath. His long wait had not been in vain. It was finally time to harvest. 3 sets of 100,000-year spirit rings and spirit bones were his best reward. After about 10 minutes, the 3 soaring pillars of blood-red light finally collapsed inward, compressing and eventually condensing into 3 red spirit rings. Looking at the 300,000-year spirit rings, the corners of Liu Chen's mouth curled up uncontrollably as he prepared to step forward and absorb them. Suddenly, his brow arched as he turned to look toward a certain direction in the Stardew Great Forest. In his perception, 2 old friends were rushing over. Thump, thump, thump. At that moment, the ground began to tremble slightly, the vibrations growing more intense. Because Liu Chen had excellent vision, he could see the mountain-like figure of an ape sprinting toward them from afar. Wrapped around that mountain-like figure was a massive azure python with the head of a bull. These 2 behemoths were precisely the king of the forest, the Titan giant ape, and the emperor of the forest, the sky azure bull python. It was understandable that the 2 of them would come looking. When the 3 Kainjun ant brothers underwent their heavenly tribulation, the booming thunder had echoed for 100 miles. It could be heard clearly even from a great distance. With new 100,000-year spirit beasts ascending, the brothers Titan giant ape and sky azure bull python naturally had to come and take a look. They needed to determine whether the newly ascended 100,000-year spirit beasts were friend or foe. If they were foes, they would certainly be driven out. If they were friends, their respective territories would need to be clearly demarcated. Different spirit beasts were not a monolithic group. Fighting each other for territory was the norm. Before long, the sky azure bull python and the Titan giant ape arrived. The 2 behemoths stared straight at everything before them, with 4 massive, lantern-like eyes. Amidst the pile of severed limbs floated 3 red spirit rings, rings that only 100,000-year spirit beasts could produce. In front of the beasts, Liu Chen held his black iron sickle, with 4 spirit rings, black, black, red, red, rhythmically moving up and down around him. The surging pressure he emitted made even the sky azure bull python and Titan giant ape feel immense weight. The sky azure bull python said in a low, disbelieving voice, Lu Chen, it's you. You've already added 4 spirit rings to your second martial soul. And what is the situation here? You killed 300,000-year spirit beasts at once. How can there be such a coincidence? 300,000-year spirit beasts just happened to undergo tribulation, and you just happened to encounter them right after they succeeded. The Titan giant ape looked closely at the severed limbs, scratched its head, and spoke with a bewildered expression. These are 3,000 Jun ants. How strange. My brother and I searched the entire Stardew Great Forest before and couldn't find any high-quality 1,000 Jun ant spirit beasts, yet you managed to find them. Lu Chen waved at them and greeted them, saying, "Da Ming, Ming, long time no see. It's good that you're here. Act as my protector. I need to absorb the 100,000-year spirit rings of these 3,000 Jun ants. I'll explain everything else to you slowly after I've finished absorbing the rings." The Sky Azure Bull Python and Titan Giant Ape did not refuse. They were still waiting for Lu Chen to cultivate his second martial soul to the titled Douluo level, so he could snatch back Aru's spirit ring and spirit bone from the hands of the Spirit Hall Supreme Pontiff Bibidong. Because they lived in the Stardew Great Forest, they did not yet know that Bibidong's position as Supreme Pontiff had been revoked. The Sky Azure Bull Python glanced at the 3 red spirit rings and nodded slightly, saying, "Very well, you absorb the spirit rings first. We brothers will act as your protector." With the Sky Azure Bull Python's assurance, Lu Chen sat down cross-legged. Looking at the 3 red spirit rings, he thought to himself, Tang San could absorb 3,000 Jun ant rings at once. There's no reason I can't. Furthermore, the 3 Kainjun ant brothers are of the same age, all 100,000 years, and the same species. Absorbing their rings simultaneously might bring some unexpected gains. Just like Tang San, when he absorbed his rings, they were only 3 black 90,000-year rings, but after the absorption succeeded and they were tempered, all 3 evolved into red 100,000-year spirit rings. Thinking of this, Lu Chen no longer hesitated and summoned the 3 spirit rings simultaneously. In an instant, the 3 red rings drifted toward him together. They settled over him and quickly merged inside. Fierce and overbearing, 3 surges of identical spirit power swept through Lu Chen's body. The violent impact made Lu Chen's body tremble, but fortunately, his physique was powerful enough that he ultimately suffered no significant damage. To Lu Chen's surprise, the 3 originally distinct surges of spirit power began to slowly merge into one, a vast spirit power whose turbulence exceeded all imagination. Chapter 196, Slaughter Domain. Lu Chen's body suddenly tensed up. Originally, he was absorbing 3 100,000-year spirit rings, but since these 3 100,000-year spirit rings all came from the same spirit beast, the 1,000 Jun ant. As a result, the spirit ring energy of these 3 spirit rings actually fused into a single, even more massive surge of spirit ring energy. This feeling was just like when Lu Chen had absorbed the 300,000-year cultivation spirit ring of the 9-headed bloody crimson bat king back then. The fused spirit ring energy of the 3 100,000-year 1,000 Jun ants was already comparable to the energy of the 300,000-year 9-headed bloody crimson bat king vicious beast spirit ring. Feeling the impact of the spirit ring energy on his body, Lu Chen's frame suddenly tightened, every muscle exerting force to restrain the spirit ring energy that was rampaging wildly inside him. It was fortunate that his body had already reached an absurdly powerful level, enough to rival those vicious beasts of several 100,000 years. Otherwise, this spirit ring energy really might have caused Lu Chen considerable trouble. Relying on his powerful physique, Lu Chen forcibly constrained the spirit ring's energy. Then, mobilizing his mental force, he began to guide the spirit ring's energy, following the meridians to surge into his danshan. Inside Lu Chen's danshan, it was clearly divided into 2 parts. Occupying more than half of Lu Chen's danshan were his blue-silver Emperor Martial Soul and the Seed of Life, their auras connected, firmly suppressing the black iron sickle and forcing it to occupy only a small portion of the danshan. Now, under Lu Chen's guidance, the spirit ring energy of the 3,000 Jun ants surged into the black iron sickle. The black iron sickle immediately began to pulsate rhythmically, accepting all the spirit ring energy that came as it absorbed it, blooming with a black light that seemed capable of devouring everything. Lu Chen was well versed in the process of absorbing spirit rings, and he quickly got on the right track. Whether it was his body, his spirit, or his spirit power, all were being tempered by this spirit ring energy, starting to improve slowly and steadily. Time passed minute by minute, and about 8 hours later, while Lu Chen was absorbing the spirit rings smoothly. Suddenly, his body shuddered, and an incomparably deep black light erupted from his danshan. Like ink, it quickly stained the surrounding 10-meter area as dark as night. Within that range of black energy, not a hint of sharpness was revealed, yet it gave off a feeling that it could cut and crush all things. The Sky Azure Bull Python and the Titan Giant Ape, who had been staying by Lu Chen's side as his protectors, were also startled at this moment. Looking at that black energy, they both felt a sense of trepidation, as if even with their powerful bodies, they wouldn't be able to withstand the cutting force of that black energy if they touched it. The Titan Giant Ape retreated several steps in succession, its earthy yellow pupils filled with suspicion and uncertainty as it spoke. "Big brother, what kind of energy is this? It actually makes me feel fear from the bottom of my heart." The Sky Azure Bull Python stared at the black energy without blinking, and after a long while, it said with a somewhat hesitant tone, "This energy seems to be a special domain. It's truly unbelievable that with the cultivation of us two brothers, we would actually feel trepidation because of a domain. Just what kind of domain ability is this?" To be able to make the Titan Giant Ape and the Sky Azure Bull Python feel fear, the terror of this domain was evident. The core ability of this domain was actually the cutting attribute. This was an ability that touched upon rules. Under this cutting attribute, any defense would become a mere formality, any sharp weapon, any protective spirit ability, and any powerful physical body could be easily sliced through. This was an ability at the level of rules. There was no need for the weapon to be sharp. As long as an attack was made, the enemy's body would naturally tear apart. That was the terror of the cutting attribute. Lu Chen's second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle. After being tempered by 7 spirit rings, the first spirit ring came from a bear, the second from a 60,000-year dark demonic evil god tiger, the third from a 100,000-year void mantis, the fourth from a 300,000-year 9-headed bloody crimson bat king, and the 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings all from 100,000-year thousand Jun ants. What a terrifying spirit ring configuration. Under the tempering of these 7 spirit rings, the Black Iron Sickle had evolved from an ordinary farming tool to the level of a divine rank spirit. As a divine rank spirit, it was only after absorbing the 7th spirit ring that it could awaken such a domain ability. Perhaps because the previous few spirit abilities of the Black Iron Sickle were all slash-type spirit abilities focused on offense, Lu Chen's domain ability awakened the cutting attribute that enhanced offensive capabilities. With a domain possessing such a cutting attribute, Lu Chen would truly be invincible in the world. With the enhancement of the domain ability, his Black Iron Sickle will be able to cut through anything. Any defense would be completely meaningless. As long as his Black Iron Sickle struck a target, whether it was a 100,000-year spirit beast, a vicious beast of several 100,000 years, or even a million-year divine beast, it would be impossible to withstand, and a massive wound would be torn open. As for humans, there was likewise no spirit master who could withstand the slicing of the cutting attribute. Qian Daolu couldn't, High Priestess Bo Saixi couldn't, and even if Tang Chen were still alive, he wouldn't be able to withstand it either. In the future, when facing Lu Chen's attacks, one could only dodge. If one couldn't dodge, there would be only one path, death. Successfully awakening the domain ability actually meant that Lu Chen had successfully absorbed the spirit rings of the 3,000 Jun ants. In an instant, Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes, and everything in his sight was an expanse of black. He slowly uttered, "Retract." In a flash, the ink-like black domain returned to his danshan. After a brief moment of perception, Lu Chen understood the effect of this domain. His face showed an excited expression, his eyebrows arched, his eyes were full of pleasant surprise, and the corners of his mouth curled up uncontrollably. Seeing that Lu Chen had woken up, the Sky Azure Bull Python asked curiously, "Lu Chen, what kind of ability does that black domain of yours have? It actually made even Erming and me feel fear." The Titan Giant Ape was equally curious, looking at Lu Chen and saying, "While you were absorbing the spirit rings, we were guarding you the whole time. you wouldn't go so far as to not even satisfy this small request of ours, would you? Facing the inquiries of the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape, Lu Chen gave it a little thought and decided not to hide it from them. That black domain, I've named it the Slaughter Domain. The core ability of the Slaughter Domain is the cutting attribute. With the enhancement of the cutting attribute, my second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle, will possess the trait of being able to cut through anything. No human spirit beast or object can withstand a strike from the Black Iron Sickle. Now, it wouldn't be an overstatement at all to say my Black Iron Sickle spirit is the #1 power attack spirit in the world. Hearing this, the two colossal beings, the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape, both gasped, causing a gale to kick up through the nearby forest. Chapter 197, Spirit Conflict. Slaughter Domain. This is a domain that exists solely for offense. With the Black Iron Sickle having this domain, it was like adding wings to a tiger. It would be no exaggeration to call it the world's #1 power attack spirit. The Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape, the two beast kings of the Stardew Great Forest, both revealed looks of awe and respect in their lantern-like giant eyes at this moment. Previously, the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape had confidently believed that with their formidable strength, Lu Chen wouldn't be able to do anything to them. But now, with this domain ability, Lu Chen could definitely kill the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape with ease if he so desired. When these two beast kings realized that their lives were now entirely dependent on Lu Chen's whim, that awe and respect from the bottom of their hearts naturally welled up. Although Lu Chen didn't show any killing intent toward them, the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape proactively cast aside their former casual and unrestrained attitude. Their movements, expressions, and words unconsciously became more disciplined. At this time, Lu Chen also stood up from the ground, stretched lazily, and his bones let out a series of popping sounds like beans being fried. But suddenly his body stumbled, his face flushed red, and the spirit power inside his body actually broke out into an uncontrollable riot. The reason for all this was that Lu Chen's second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle, had its quality significantly improved after absorbing the 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings. Unwilling to just occupy a corner of the Danshan, it launched an assault against the Blue-Silver Emperor martial soul, attempting to seize more territory. On the surface of Lu Chen's body, a blue light and a black light erupted almost simultaneously, using his body as a battlefield in a back-and-forth tug-of-war. Judging from the current situation, the Blue-Silver Emperor still held the upper hand, with the blue light occupying almost more than half of Lu Chen's body. As for the black light, it could only entrench itself in the peripheral areas of his limbs, such as his hands and legs. Though weaker in momentum, the black light belonging to the Black Iron Sickle was more fierce, more overbearing, and more aggressive. Under the fire-like aggression of the black light, it was reclaiming more territory on Lu Chen's body bit by bit, gradually spreading toward his torso. Seeing this situation, the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape were both startled. They wanted to step forward to check the situation, but were worried about affecting Lu Chen. The Sky Azure Ball Python proactively lowered its voice to ask, "Lu Chen, what's going on with you?" Lu Chen's face was flushed red. He waved his hand with difficulty, indicating that he was fine. Whether it was the Blue-Silver Emperor or the Black Iron Sickle, both were his spirits. Subjectively, they wouldn't cause him any harm, but objectively, the two spirits using his body as a battlefield to seize territory from each other gave him a feeling as if his body were being torn apart. He also got a bit angry. As my spirits to start a riot and conflict with each other without my command, this situation must be suppressed. Otherwise, if you two spirits suddenly conflict during a battle with someone else in the future, wouldn't I just have to wait to be captured? Thinking of this with a thought from Lu Chen, his mental force poured out like a stream, inducing the Seed of Life and the Blue-Silver Emperor martial soul to form a joint force. The two were already connected in Kai, and under Lu Chen's guidance, they erupted with vigorous and flourishing life force. Life force seemed weak and not very aggressive. Most of the time, it could only provide auxiliary abilities. But the dominator of life force, the goddess of life, was one of the 5 law enforcement gods of the god realm. Therefore, how could life force be weak? Life force excelled in being endless, Flowing water does not strive to be first, but strives for its continuous flow. No matter how fire-like the black iron sickle's offensive was, the blue-silver emperor could tangle with it back and forth. The first blow brings vigor, the second decline, and the third exhaustion. When the black iron sickle's offensive slowed down, the blue-silver emperor, coordinating with the seed of life, continuously erupted with life force and forcibly suppressed the black iron sickle. However, Chen also knew that too much was as bad as too little. After suppressing the black iron sickle, Chen controlled the blue-silver emperor to proactively yield a portion of the territory, so that the black iron sickle no longer just occupied a corner in his danshan. Until the blue-silver emperor and the black iron sickle gradually reached a state of balance. Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief. The advantages of twin spirits were certainly pleasing. By adding spirit rings to the second martial soul, one could quickly increase their own spirit power. For instance, Chen had now made a breakthrough from level 97 peak spirit power to level 98 peak spirit power. He wasn't even 13 years old yet. Breaking through to titled Douluo at age 12, and in less than a year, he broke through from level 91 spirit power to level 98 spirit power. The talent of twin spirits was just that terrifying. However, the drawbacks of twin spirits were equally a headache. Two spirits with different attributes and different spirit power, once they conflicted, the damage to the body would be devastating. If it were anyone else, they would have probably died from their body exploding by now. Only because of Chen, the life force of the blue-silver emperor and the seed of life made his body extremely resilient. Through continuously adding spirit rings, especially the 3 newly added 1,000 Jun Ant spirit rings, his physical strength had reached an inconceivable level. There was simply no specific reference. Otherwise, Chen would have suspected whether his body had already reached the level of a divine body. There are 2 methods to overcome the cultivation drawbacks of twin spirits. One is for the body to be strong enough to suppress the conflict between the 2 spirits. The second is to become a successor of a divinity's legacy, using divine force, which is a grade higher than spirit power, to suppress the conflict between the 2 spirits. Currently, Chen was using the first method. As the blue-silver emperor and the black iron sickle reached a state of balance, the blue and black lights that were using his body as a battlefield also gradually calmed down, quickly shrinking back into his danshan. Chen's eyes were firm, flashing with a brilliant light. To completely solve the conflict issue of twin spirits, it seems that creating my own god position must be put on the agenda. Seeing Chen recover, the sky azure ball python exhaled a breath like a gust of wind and looked at Chen again, asking, Chen, what was that about just now? How could the spirit power in your body suddenly go out of control? That's a very dangerous thing. One mistake and your body could explode. The sky azure ball python meant well, so Chen smiled and said, Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. This is the price one must pay for cultivating twin spirits. My body is strong enough. Even if the spirit power conflict of the twin spirits occurs, I am confident I can suppress it. After answering the sky azure ball python, Chen turned his attention back to himself and began to sense what kind of spirit ability he had gained from absorbing the 3 spirit rings of the 1,000 Jun Ant this time. After just a moment, the corners of Chen's mouth couldn't help but curl up. Chapter 198, 3-in-1 Spirit Bone. 3-100-000 year 1,000 Jun Ants added the 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings to Chen's black iron sickle martial soul. The first spirit ability of the 5th spirit ring, named Earth Ant Emperor Slash, evolved from the emerald rays released through the 1,000 Jun Ant's 4 pincers. This is a single-target linear attack skill that strengthens power through highly compressed energy, possessing the terrifying power to tear through the earth. Overall, this is a very powerful attack skill, but what Chen lacks least at the moment are attack skills. It could be considered quite standard. The second spirit ability of the 5th spirit ring is named Qianjun Clone. This is a cloning skill, but it doesn't create a clone of Chen. Instead, it clones the black iron sickle. Activating this spirit ability can replicate a black iron sickle exactly as it is, possessing the same toughness and sharpness as the original, and it can even be used to perform spirit abilities. Simply put, using the Qianjun Clone spirit ability can replicate a black iron sickle. The 2 black iron sickles can perform different spirit abilities, and with sufficient spirit power, performing 2 different spirit abilities can completely catch an enemy off guard. Actually, Chen didn't understand why the 1000-Jun ant would provide such a cloning skill. Perhaps it was because the 1000-Jun ant's 4 pincers appear in pairs. The first spirit ability of the 6th spirit ring, named 1000-Jun Barrier, evolved from the Golden Barrier the 3 Jun ant brothers used to resist their heavenly tribulation. Its defensive capability is extremely shocking. At that time, each lightning dragon was comparable to the 9th spirit ability of a titled Douluo. Facing the bombardment of 9 lightning dragons, the Golden Barrier stubbornly held on until the 5th lightning dragon before being shattered. It's evident that this 1000-Jun Barrier defensive spirit ability is a powerful ability comparable to absolute defense. Without more than 5 power attack titled Douluos simultaneously using their 9th spirit ability, it simply cannot be broken. It can be called a divine skill. The second spirit ability of the 6th spirit ring is named Gravity Distortion. As the name suggests, this is a spirit ability that can freely control gravity. It can increase gravity or decrease gravity. Depending on the input spirit power, it can increase gravity by up to 100-fold or decrease it by up to 100-fold. This is a very powerful support skill. Once the 100-fold gravity increase is activated, some physically weak enemies can be crushed to death directly, and even physically strong enemies will find it difficult to move an inch. Once the 100-fold gravity reduction is activated, one can truly experience what it means to be as light as a swallow. Imagine what level your speed could reach when you are completely free from the constraints of gravity. If used well, this gravity distortion spirit ability is a powerful ability comparable to a domain. As for the 7th spirit ring, although it is also a 100,000-year spirit ring, it only provided Chen with 1 spirit ability. Black Scythe Avatar. Chen guessed that perhaps the spirit beast origin of this spirit ring had already 100% fused with the Black Iron Sickle Martial Soul, leaving no extra spirit beast origin to condense a 2nd spirit ability. Although this 100,000-year spirit ring only provided 1 spirit ability, the power of this single ability left Chen very satisfied. After using the Martial Soul Avatar, the attributes of the Black Iron Sickle receive a 200% boost. The spirit abilities of the Black Iron Sickle's first 6 spirit rings receive a 200% boost, and the Black Iron Sickle's Slaughter Domain also receives a 200% boost. Chen could already imagine that when the Black Iron Sickle Martial Soul uses its Martial Soul Avatar and activates the Slaughter Domain, with the boost from the Slaughter Domain, it will truly be a case of slaying gods if gods block, and slaying Buddhas if Buddhas block. These are the spirit abilities of Chen's Black Iron Sickle Martial Soul's 5th, 6th, and 7th spirit rings. Their attack spirit ability Earth Ant Emperor Slash, the defensive spirit ability 1000-Jun Barrier, the support spirit abilities Jun Clone and Gravity Distortion, and the most important, the Martial Soul Avatar. With this series of skills, Chen's strength can completely rise another level. Right besides the spirit rings, there are also spirit bones. Chen's eyes lit up. He turned and ran toward the pile of 1000-Jun Ant's severed limbs, raised his right hand, and summoned the dark gold Terraclaw. Accompanied by a burst of dark golden light, his entire right hand was encased in a layer of bone armor. As his 5 fingers flexed, 5 dark golden blades over 3 feet long shot out. On each dark golden blade, a chilling cold light bloomed, the light flowing in a way that captivated the soul. With a gentle swipe, one could faintly hear the hiss of the air being sliced open. Chen's dark golden Terraclaw external spirit bone came from a bear and had accompanied him all the way, undergoing energy baptisms from one spirit ring after another. 60,000-year dark demonic evil god tiger spirit ring. 100,000-year void mantis spirit ring. 300,000-year 9-headed bloody crimson bat king spirit ring. 3,100,000-year 1000-Jun ant spirit rings. Now the dark gold Terraclaw has surpassed the level of a 100,000-year spirit bone, becoming a 1,000,000-year spirit bone, or rather, a prototype of a divine artifact. Chen had a feeling that as long as the dark gold Terraclaw underwent one more transformation to completely transcend the mundane, it could become a divine artifact. I remember in the original work, Bear Lord had a cultivation of 480,000 years and created a unique technique called Sky-Ripping Claw, which possessed peerless power and even scratched Dai Tian in battle. Now that my dark gold Terraclaw has evolved to the million-year level and become a prototype divine artifact, if I study and replicate the Sky-Ripping Claw, it will give me another trump card. Subsequently, Lu Chen swung the dark gold Terraclaw, easily tearing apart the remains of the three Qianjun ant brothers, slicing them into pieces like a knife through tofu. Amidst the fragmented remains, Lu Chen searched for a while, and finally found only one shimmering golden right arm bone that emitted terrifying energy fluctuations. Holding this right arm bone, Lu Chen's expression was one of complete astonishment. How can this be? A 100,000-year spirit beast will 100% drop a spirit bone. These 3,000 Jun ants were all 100,000-year spirit beasts, so why did only one spirit bone drop in the end? Refusing to believe it, Lu Chen searched back and forth through the fragmented remains on the ground several more times. Indeed, there was no trace of the other two spirit bones. Lu Chen's face was full of unwillingness. He should have obtained 3 100,000-year spirit bones, but now he only had one. How could he be satisfied? He lowered his head again, looked at the right arm bone in his hand, and sensed the surging spirit power fluctuations within it. His heart suddenly stirred. The spirit power fluctuations of this spirit bone are even more intense than an ordinary 100,000-year spirit bone, almost comparable to the 9-headed bloody Crimson Bat King's 300,000-year spirit bone. Could there be some situation I'm unaware of? Thinking of this, Lu Chen released his mental force and injected it into the right arm bone, which immediately gave him a strong response. As long as Lu Chen was willing, he could absorb this right arm bone immediately. A moment later, Lu Chen withdrew his mental force and opened a pair of deep blue eyes that flickered with a strange light. As I thought, because the 3,000 Jun ants had the same age and species, and died at the same time, parts of their origins gathered together to form this 3-in-1 spirit bone, causing its age to reach the 300,000-year level. There are 2 skills in total within the spirit bone. The first skill, Qianjun Body Protection, can condense a layer of golden light on the body's surface, which not only enhances defensive capability, but also improves the body's endurance. The improvement of the body's endurance is to prepare for the second spirit ability. The second spirit ability, 1,000-ton giant strength, can increase one's own strength by 1,000%. That's incredible. A spirit beast like the 1,000-Jun ant can lift objects more than 10 times its own weight. This special talent has now been transformed into 2 spirit abilities. Qianjun Body Protection increases defensive capability while improving body endurance, and 1,000-ton giant strength can directly let one burst forth with 10 times the strength. Very reasonable. To burst forth with terrifying power that transcends limits, one must inevitably strain the body beyond its limits. If one's body endurance isn't strong enough, the first thing to collapse would be one's own body. Chapter 199, Level 99, Super Douluo. Lu Chen turned his head to look at the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape. De Ming, Ming, I must trouble you both to continue acting as my protectors. I am going to absorb this right arm bone. The Sky Azure Ball Python nodded slightly. Leave it to us, feel free to absorb the spirit bone without worry. Having received the Sky Azure Ball Python's assurance, Lu Chen sat down cross-legged on the spot. He placed the 3-in-1 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone against his right arm and channeled a wisp of spirit power into it. The right arm bone immediately burst into a brilliant radiance. A terrifying pressure of spirit power spread outward. With this spirit bone as the center, the air within a radius of several hundred meters became viscous. This 300,000-year strength-type spirit bone, obtained from the fusion of 3 spirit bones, possessed a spirit power pressure that was enough to crush any spirit master below the level of a spirit Douluo just by its aura alone. Even for a titled Douluo, only those of the assault type would have sufficient physical strength to absorb this strength-type spirit bone. Fortunately, Lu Chen possessed just such a formidable physique. Amidst the brilliant light, the right arm bone transformed into wisps of golden energy, flowing into Lu Chen's right arm. In that instant, Lu Chen felt a tearing pain in his right arm, causing him to involuntarily knit his brows. Pain, it was too painful. That surging spirit bone energy was compressing the bones, meridians, muscles, and skin of his right arm from every direction, causing his entire right arm to tremble slightly. Yet despite the pain, Chen could clearly perceive that under the tempering of that spirit bone energy, the strength of his right arm was slowly increasing, and his entire body was benefiting as well. Chen took a deep breath and gritted his teeth, thinking, pain is good. If it didn't hurt or itch at all, it would mean it wasn't having any tempering effect on my body. As the 1,000-Jun ant is a purely strength-type spirit beast, the reinforcement this 300,000-year 3-in-1 fused spirit bone brings to my body after I successfully absorb it will definitely be stronger than the 300,000 year 9-headed bloody crimson bat king left arm bone. With this thought in mind, even though his right arm felt as if it were about to explode from the pain, Chen gritted his teeth and persevered. Just at this moment, the dark golden terraclaw external spirit bone, which served as his palm bone, suddenly became restless. It spewed out waves of dark golden light, and as soon as it made contact with the 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone, they seemed to hit it off immediately. The dark golden light and the golden light merged together as seamlessly as water and milk. With the aid of the energy tempering from the 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone, the dark golden light of the dark golden terraclaw external spirit bone flickered continuously, and it actually began to undergo a transformative evolution. Wisps of terrifying pressure radiated from the dark golden terraclaw external spirit bone, as if it could collapse space and tear everything apart. That was the aura of a god. Utilizing the energy tempering of the 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone, the dark golden terraclaw external spirit bone evolved to its limit, transforming from a prototype divine artifact into a true divine artifact. From now on, Chen would have a divine artifact that truly belonged to him. Even if it were only the most ordinary of divine artifacts, it would be enough to give him a greater advantage in battle. Chen naturally felt overjoyed by this. Tusk, I really didn't expect the compatibility between the dark golden terraclaw external spirit bone and the 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone to be this high. Come to think of it, it makes sense. Although the dark gold terraclaw bear is a metal attribute spirit beast, this species also possesses top-tier strength attributes. Without the support of strength attributes, the dark gold terraclaw bear couldn't possibly have such powerful offensive capabilities. It was indeed the right choice that I hesitated to reinstall the blue-silver king right arm bone back then. The 85,000 year blue-silver king right arm bone and the 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone simply cannot be compared. I originally planned to find time to study Xingjun's sky-ripping claw, but it seems there's no need. With overwhelming strength, under the enhancement of the 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone, the dark golden terraclaw, now gradually evolving into a divine artifact, will possess the power to tear through space even with the most ordinary of attacks. Compared to the original sky-ripping claw, mine is not a bit inferior. No, mine is even better. After all, Xingjun does not have the enhancement of my set of spirit rings and spirit bones. Not only that, the spirit ring energy of the 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone fused with Chen's original spirit power, causing the spirit power within his body to circulate at high speed through his meridians, like a wildly spinning windmill, whipping up a storm. His level 98 peak spirit power actually showed signs of increasing. This was news that made Chen ecstatic. The difference between level 94 spirit power and level 95 spirit power is the gap between a regular titled Douluo and a super titled Douluo. The difference between level 98 spirit power and level 99 spirit power is the gap between a super titled Douluo and a super Douluo. Every step forward is a massive surge in strength. Chen had originally thought that he would remain stuck at level 98 spirit power for some time. As it turned out, this 300,000 year 1,000-Jun ant right arm bone did him a huge favor. Relying on that incomparably surging and torrential spirit power, it helped him break through the bottleneck between level 98 and level 99 spirit power bit by bit. Time passed second by second, and after about 8 hours, a whistling wind sound suddenly erupted from within Chen's body. His danshan seemed to have become a black hole, erupting with unprecedented suction, plundering all the energy from the Stardew Great Forest. The vast and endless energy of heaven and earth gathered in the sky, forming an ocean. This ocean stirred up waves, whipping up an energy vortex dozens of zhang in size. A beam of light shot out from the center of the vortex, landing on Lu Chen. With each breath he took, the extremely dense energy of heaven and earth was absorbed into his body, and after being refined, it merged into his own spirit power. That 300,000 Jun, ant-right arm bone, successfully helped Lu Chen break through the bottleneck between level 98 and level 99 spirit power. Now, as long as Lu Chen accumulated enough spirit power, he could immediately step into the realm of a level 99 spirit power Super Douluo. With Lu Chen as the center, the spirit power pressure radiating out through half of the Stardew Great Forest into chaos. Whether it was the spirit beasts in the forest or the spirit masters who had come to hunt them, all were trembling in fear. The spirit beasts prostrated themselves on the ground, and the spirit masters bowed down completely. A level 99 Super Douluo, as a spirit master standing at the pinnacle of humanity, is an invincible existence on the Douluo Continent. The Sky Azure Bull Python and the Titan Giant Ape, one an emperor of the forest, the other a king of the forest. They were powerful enough as brothers, right? Yet now they could only watch Lu Chen from afar, shivering. It was simply because the aura Lu Chen was emitting was just too terrifying. Lu Chen's breakthrough to a level 99 Super Douluo caused such a commotion in the core area of the Stardew Great Forest, within the special space beneath the Lake of Life. Those vicious beasts hidden there all felt restless. If humanity had one more level 99 Super Douluo, the situation for them, the spirit beasts, would become even more passive. However, they never left that place to go to the outside world to stop Lu Chen, who was in the midst of his breakthrough. Because in the dark, a grand divine thought had taken notice of Lu Chen breaking through in the Stardew Great Forest. This divine thought, without a doubt, belonged to the god of destruction. The god of destruction had originally decided that if Lu Chen reached level 99 Super Douluo and attached 9 spirit rings to his second martial soul, he would bestow upon him a seed of destruction. Lu Chen breaking through to level 99 spirit power naturally drew the attention of the god of destruction's divine thought, but Lu Chen had not yet completed the attachment of 9 spirit rings to his second martial soul. Therefore, the god of destruction intended to wait a little longer. Thus, a day and a night passed. Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes, and a brilliant light over 3 feet long shot out from them. After a while, the light returned to his eyes. His clear, azure blue eyes revealed a heart-palpitating, terrifying pressure, enough to make any human or spirit beast afraid to look directly at him. Now, Lu Chen had officially broken through to the level 99 Super Douluo realm, becoming a top-tier powerhouse of the Douluo Continent. Combined with his terrifying, monstrous set of spirit ring and spirit bone skills, Lu Chen was capable of punching Qian Dailiu and kicking High Priestess Bo Saixi. If Tang Chen were alive, he was confident he could beat Tang Chen until he couldn't take care of himself within 10 rounds. Now, the only problem still standing in his way was how to become a god. Chapter 200, Really Want to Cut Something? Lu Chen floated up, slightly lifting his head. The surging power continuously gushing from within his body made him feel exceptionally invigorated. This is the realm of a Super Douluo. Lu Chen murmured in a low voice, his eyes exceptionally bright. This power was truly mesmerizing. At this moment, a voice filled with awe and mixed with envy drifted over. Human spirit masters are truly blessed by heaven. A human with top-tier talent can become a titled Douluo in just a few decades, not to mention a monster like you, who can become a Super Douluo in just over a decade. And we spirit beasts need to bitterly cultivate for 100,000 years to become a 100,000 year spirit beast. A few decades versus 100,000 years, the gap between them is like a chasm. I suddenly somewhat understand Sister Zyro Wu. With our spirit beast bodies, it is impossible to ever surpass humans. To want to surpass humans, one must first become a human. Only in this way can one possess the qualification to break through the limits. The one who said this was the Sky Azure Bull Python. Lu Chen's age was not even a fraction of the Sky Azure Bull Python's, but now, the Sky Azure Bull Python watched helplessly as Lu Chen became a level 99 Super Douluo, and it let out a heartfelt sigh of emotion. As the Emperor of the Forest, the Sky Azure Bull Python had a powerful bloodline and terrifying strength, but it was only a match for a level 96 titled Douluo among humans. To go a step further, the Sky Azure Ball Python would have to suffer for at least several 100,000 years, and it would have to successfully survive the heavenly tribulation every time to obtain power equal to Lu Chen's. This vast difference caused the Sky Azure Ball Python's mindset to become somewhat unbalanced. It couldn't help but think back to when it first broke through to become a 100,000-year spirit beast, and it chose to maintain its original form instead of transforming and recultivating. Was that choice right or wrong? Thinking to the end, the Sky Azure Ball Python had an answer in its heart. It was right not to choose to transform and recultivate. It needed to protect Zyro Wu and protect this home, the Lake of Life, and therefore, it absolutely could not lose its power. Hearing this, Lu Chen turned his head to look at the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape, smiling at them. Hard cultivation is one aspect, but if you want your cultivation to improve quickly, you still need to absorb some heaven and earth treasure. Ming, thank you for acting as my protector. When I come to the Stardew Great Forest next time, I will bring you gifts. That is a heaven and earth treasure grade herb called the 7-star dragon tongue orchid. I previously fed this herb to 3,000 Jun ants, and it directly caused their cultivation to skyrocket from 35,000 years to 100,000 years. Next time I will bring some for you. After you have both consumed the 7-star dragon tongue orchid, it will also allow you to charge at the bottleneck of 200,000 years of cultivation sooner. Once these words were spoken, both the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape revealed a hint of shock and surprise in their eyes. The Titan Giant Ape widened its eyes and said in a booming voice, "There is such a heaven and earth treasure that can make a 35,000-year thousand Jun ants cultivation skyrocket to become a 100,000-year spirit beast." The Sky Azure Ball Python was calmer, and it was not just thinking about itself. Lu Chen, never mind. With such heaven and earth treasure grade herbs, you should give them to Sister Zyro Wu. As long as Sister Zyro Wu's cultivation can improve sooner, the two of us brothers will be content. By the way, why didn't Sister Zyro Wu come back with you this time? Nothing happened to Sister Zyro Wu, right? The Titan Giant Ape nodded repeatedly and said, "Yes, I think so too. You should give the herbs to Sister Zyro Wu." Lu Chen smiled faintly and said, "Rest assured, Zyro Wu is very safe. She has also consumed an immortal herb, and I even obtained 2 spirit bones for her. Now, Zyro Wu is already a level 51 spirit king. The gifts I owe you, I will definitely bring them next time. Today, I must head back first." Having broken through to level 99 spirit power, Lu Chen naturally intended to go back and share the joy with Zyro Wu, Zhu and Du Guyan. After going back to rest this time, he planned to head overseas to hunt the evil spirit Orca King and the deep sea demon Whale King to serve as the 8th and 9th spirit rings for his black iron sickle spirit. The next instant, Lu Chen raised his right hand. A black light gushed out from his palm, flowing and transforming, and quickly condensed into a black scythe. The black scythe had a handle about 3 meters long, and the blade was about 2 meters long. Its design was exaggerated, sinister, and terrifying, covered in interlocking, jagged patterns, emitting a cold aura that made one's back chill. This was the evolved black iron sickle. After the tempering of the 3,000 Jun ant spirit rings, it had evolved into a giant scythe, a heavy scythe. Its weight reached 36,000 Jin. This was not a small number. One must know that the sea god trident, without the infusion of divine force, only weighed 108,000 Jin. In a place like the Douluo Continent, for a spirit to reach a weight of 36,000 Jin, it was already an invincible sharp weapon. After the spirit was summoned, one spirit ring after another rose from beneath Lu Chen's feet. Black, red. 2 black and 5 red, an extremely shocking spirit ring configuration. The first 2 black spirit rings, one from a bear and one from a 60,000-year dark demonic evil god tiger, were actually no different in quality from 100,000-year spirit rings. The 3 newly added red spirit rings all came from 100,000-year thousand Jun ants, but these 3 red spirit rings were extremely special. Each ring had 2 golden lines winding and circling on it, mysterious and magnificent. Seeing this, Lu Chen was also stunned for a moment, thinking to himself, "I clearly absorbed 100,000-year spirit rings, So why have they now presented themselves as 200,000-year vicious beast spirit rings? This is truly an unexpected harvest. I remember that when I absorbed the spirit rings into my body, the 3 streams of spirit ring energy, because they were of the same origin, finally condensed into one stream of energy. It seems that it was at that moment that the spirit ring energies fused with each other, and after repeated tempering, the quality of the spirit rings improved. This is a huge blessing. The power of a 100,000-year spirit ability and the power of a 200,000-year spirit ability are definitely different. Thinking of this, Chen felt his hands itching. He really wanted to unleash these 200,000-year spirit abilities and test their true power. Chen gripped the black iron sickle tightly. He really wanted to cut something right now. The Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape were on his side, so Chen definitely couldn't cut them. He could only find an opportunity next time to see if any blind enemy would jump out on their own. Chen let out a long breath. Third spirit ability, Space Slash. As his third spirit ring shone, Chen swung the black iron sickle and tore open a space rift in the air. Chen greeted the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape. Ming, I will be leaving first. Next time I will bring Zyro Wu back to visit you. As his voice fell, Chen flashed and entered the space rift. As the space rift healed, only the Sky Azure Ball Python and the Titan Giant Ape remained at the scene. 1,000 subscribers, Party Popper. Thank you to everyone who watched, liked, commented, and supported this channel. Reaching 1K is a huge milestone, and I couldn't have done it without you. This is only the beginning. Our next goal is 5,000 subscribers, and we're moving forward together. Fire.